Hello and welcome to the SuperShow podcast with me, your host, Chris, in the third person. It's amazing. And joining me today, Jamie and Alex, looking as delectable as always, fellas.
Thank you very much, Chris. You're looking pretty tasty yourself.
Thank you. I don't feel tasty. I feel quite quite grotty, if anything.
Is that new glasses, haircut? What am I seeing here?
Dude, I need a haircut so badly. All of this.
Oh, bro.
Should I just do the...
Oh, do the emo fringe for just for some of the episode, please.
Okay, all right, hold on. I'm going to fix it. So for people that are listening on a podcast platform of your choice, we are available on YouTube and this way. And you can watch my emo hair. It's not really. It's just being shitty today.
It's not as emo as I thought it would be. See,
I just look like a
Jonesy's.
I just look like a wet dog now. Come on.
Yeah, that parting isn't doing you any favours. But I was going to say, I look at Jonesy's quiff and I think there's actually some hidden length there. And I think if he did let that flop down, Jonesy could go pretty emo. I'm not going to ask him to.
There's some major lengthage going on there. All right.
Wow, look. If it did.
How about this?
This is quickly becoming the Spider-Man 3 of podcasts.
It is.
Oh my god! Let's not go.
Do you know what? I know why Chris looks a bit weird is because this week he's in 2D, he's not in 3D.
That's what it is.
The red light is missing.
Yeah, well, because I set it up today and it honest to God looked like a fucking red light district, and I was like, you know what? With this hair and the way I'm feeling today, let's play it a little bit straight. So I just got the blue light over there and the white light over there, and. You know,
I was going to start trying to guess what the blue light means, because the blue light means something as well, doesn't it? Is it red light?
I think purple light is like trans or something.
Blue light is gay and red light is women. I can't remember, something like that.
I thought red light was like, I'm down to fuck if you pay me.
Yeah, red light is, but then maybe ultraviolet is.
Yeah.
But they have different lights mean different things. So if you want a guy, I think you go to a blue light. If you want a girl, you go to a red light. And I think Chris was right. Like I think trans is like purple light or something. I can't remember.
I think that was a B-side to the Sting or the Police song, as Roxanne put on the blue light.
To be sure, that all may have changed. It's been probably 15 years since I've been to Amsterdam, so maybe none of that happens anymore, and I stand corrected.
What do you guys reckon as soon as lockdown lifts and the world gets to normal? Amsterdam, baby!
That would be amazing.
Would we need some kind of gaming excuse? Do we need to find out if there's some gaming museum there or some event that's held?
We'll do an expose on prostitutes who game.
Okay. What if we do we're doing like a series on how realistic certain games are, and it's the GTA episode. Can you really fuck a prostitute, then shop her head off to get your money back? Your question's answered.
I've got a more
do you remember when
I've got a legal.
Do you remember when
I've got a more legal version of it that we could do.
We're overlapping. Sorry, Jonesy, go on.
Apologies, mate. What we do is, we go to the red light district, we take a rig with us, we set up one of the red light ladies with her own rig, get her onto Twitch and see if she can make more money than her friend who's next door, who's boning customers. And we see if we can get her more money through subscriptions.
I think she probably would, you know.
Things.
Or
for some reason,
we set her...
okay? For some reason, fellas, I don't know why, but Twitch has been recommending to me a lot of porn stars that are like just playing games.
For some reason, you know exactly what reason.
For some reason, I don't know.
I
think there are more porn stars streaming on Twitch than there are on fucking Pornhub. There you go.
What porn stars stream games? I don't even know this.
And now he's curious.
I'm interested.
Why don't you go have a look for us, Alex Jones, and see what you can find?
Are you talking about, because I saw a story about Sasha Grey, but she's obviously not a porn star.
Not anymore.
Right? She quit.
True.
Hey,
so
videos are still out there,
stars.
dude. Like it's one of those things that like you get branded. Look at Mia Khalifa. She did porn. She claims for fucking 3 months, and then she tries to have a normal career. And every time they introduce her, I think she was doing like some sports paneling. And every time they introduce her, they're like, former porn star Mia Khalifa's here to talk about sports. You know.
Do you reckon she asked to be introduced like that?
It's the Scarlet Letter, Alex Jones.
It is in some respects. Can't get away from it.
Yeah,
but there's actually some news before we get into anything else that I forgot to put in the document because we have to talk about it very briefly.
Do we?
Yes, because Chris will probably be horrified. He probably doesn't know about it, but it's purely based off of this that we've just been talking about. I watched an interview, podcast thing, and the guest was Asa Akira.
Yes!
And she mentioned that she has effectively retired.
Yeah,
from porn.
it's a shame. It's a shame, fellas. I mean, what you gonna
And
do
I
though?
thought
You know,
of you, Chris.
You get a bit older. You know, things get a little bit elastic, and you got to pack in the bags. You know, throw the towel in. That's just how it goes.
I think that's not why. I think she said that she's married or something now. She's got another half.
Well,
who's known to it.
the other thing is, and I think this is probably what a lot of the people who are streaming on Twitch now would say if you ask them, is that there's never been a easier time to make money as a former porn star in a traditional sense.
Yeah.
Because,
Right.
I mean, the homebrew stuff, which they probably don't consider porn anymore, the OnlyFans and all that stuff, those businesses must be booming. Like, if you tell me Asa Akira doesn't do scenes anymore, I believe you. If you tell me Asa Akira isn't, still making videos on her phone and sending them to simps all around the world, I wouldn't believe you. She's making racks on racks on racks doing that shit.
Racks, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Big
Jamie,
time,
I've just got to warn you because, of course, simp is not allowed on Twitch anymore, so you need to
Bro,
be careful.
we're YouTube. We're safe. We're clean. We can say, I'm a simp, Jonesy's a virgin, and Chris is an incel. We're the
Well, you got to say
trinity.
turbo virgin.
Turbo virgin. Sorry.
You need to get it out of your lexicon.
There's
forget that word.
I guess they call them VTubers. These people who kind of like they go. It's almost like motion capture. They have sort of like digital representations, like these characters, animated characters that represent them when they're on streams. One of the biggest ones of those who's kind of blown up in the last couple of months, I think she's called Code Miko. She got banned in the last week for, I think it was a month, and then reduced down to 2 weeks. And I think it was because she said, I can't remember which of the 3 words she said, but she just said one of them on the day the rules got introduced, which was a couple of days ago.
That's unfortunate.
And immediately got a 2-week ban.
You'd think that there'd be a bit of like leeway in terms of that, like, hey, we've just introduced this new sweeping rule. You've got a couple of days to find out about it. Like,
well, we had more like a couple of months, but still, some people are gonna have a tough time getting rid of those words from their vocabularies.
yeah, fucking
They're fun to say as well.
turbo
That's the
virgin
other-
simps. Who cares?
Yeah, it is fun to say.
Yeah.
It is fun to say.
All right, fellas. You know what? Let's get into it, okay? Because we are a gaming podcast. Some might say not only a a Twitch and porn star podcast, although that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I just want to let you all know that we are available on a podcast platform of your choice: Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Deezer, fucking Ding Dong Audio or something. I don't know. But we're also available on an internet radio, fellas. Did you know this? Have you heard about this? Did you know this? PaisleyRadio.com.
Really?
Thursdays, 10 p.m. Go check it out and enjoy it. And if you're listening on Paisley Radio, maybe check out some of the podcasts on, I don't know, Spotify, or check it out on YouTube and, check our ugly mugs. But there you go. And I would be remiss to say that this is all possible. Us being here rambling like absolute fucking frothing madmen is only made possible with the generosity of a few select patrons. And you could be one of those few select people if you head on over to patreon.com/SuperShow, and you could be as cool as the following people: AIM, Aaron Cameron, Athletic Gravy, Brett Z, aka Shellshock, Hacksaw Book Read, Jesper Camdal Nielsen, Javela Cujo, Leo Merger, Lonnie Thompson, Magic Grits, oh God, I've lost my place here, Martin Skihan, Mindful Pig, Nathan Piers, Scary Omen, Sean Kennedy, Slippy Meat. It's fun to eat and fun to say. Starfall Kid, The Mad Rad, Zach Cream, and then the big boys, fellas. These are my testicular bros: Freddie K. Official, Manuel Guerrero, Peaswad, and the Dude Abides. Thank you all so much for keeping the dream alive. There are a couple of other people as well that have been throwing some money our way, and we do appreciate it. If you head on over to patreon.com/supershow and pledge as little as $2, you can get access to our Discord server. How cool would that be? But anyway.
Very
fellas.
cool. Thank you, everyone. That's
Thank you, guys.
A very
Thank you.
long list of names nowadays. I noticed that whenever I have the responsibility, as we all have every now and then, of putting together the podcast and edit, and there's a lot of names to fit in that video nowadays. We export basically the list of names out of Photoshop and put it into Premiere, which is the software we use to edit the podcast. And it's like, we might need to start doing like 2 columns of this shit.
Yeah, it's mad. I think we've done a couple of 2-columners.
Maybe.
But, we might need to rethink how we're going to do all of that. But anyway, yeah. guys, I want to know, what have you been playing? Let's start with Alex Jones.
Do you know what? I haven't played much this week. I've played a little bit of Warzone, dabbled in some Warzone, but apart from that, I am just getting my way through Ghost of Tsushima. I'm doing my typical thing though, so I've nearly completely finished the southernmost part of the island, which is, you've got like 3 regions in Ghost of Tsushima, and it's like, no, now you can go to the second part to do Act 2 and you can do all these missions. And I'm like, no thanks, I'm finishing all the side quests, getting all the Inari shrines.
Well, are you gunning for that platinum, Jonesy?
I don't, but that's what I do with every open world game. I can't not. Like, I find it impossible to not do that, which is, I've talked about before, I think, on the podcast, which is, I often, with some, especially games that have like level gating, I get my character so highly leveled that some missions are really easy because I spent too long in the world.
I'm the same.
Yeah. Right, yeah. So, but no, I'm still having a really good time with it, and that is easily one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. Like, it's a stunning game, and it's a PlayStation 4 game, which is kind of even more incredible when you look at how nice that looks. Runs very, very well on PlayStation 5. Barely any loading. I don't get time to read a tip. You know, when it says, "Here's a tip, skip to the next," you don't get time.
Well, apparently on PS4 it had really shockingly short loading times as well.
Right.
Which is...
and I also, Chris, I took your advice and I'm halfway through 13 Assassins at the moment.
Oh, what a cracker of a film. Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's it. That's all I've done this week, really. Not much.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a funny week, hasn't it? I'll tell you what, Jamie, before we go to you, I'm going to, because I think mine's going to lead into yours. First off, I played some more Dota, surprise, surprise. But the reason why I do actually want to bring it up this time, did I mention last time on the stream, on the recording, or did we mention it maybe before we hit record? But last week, I had like the best Dota session of my life, where I had like four wins in a row, absolutely stomped everyone, was fucking... all the synapses in my brain were fucking firing at once, fucking all cylinders going.
Flow state, mate. You were in flow.
I was in the state of flow. I was like Bruce Lee said, I was fucking water. All right. But this week, old Gabe said, you know what? Nah, mate, you're not as good as you think you are. And I had 3 of the worst games in a row that I've had in a very long time. And more than that, I put myself through a 4th match. Because I was like, it was really late, okay? It was about, I think I finished that 3rd match at 12:15, so midnight. And I was like, man, I can't end on 3, like a hat trick of like the worst losses I've ever had. I said, I'm going to give it one more go. If I lose in this, then that's fine. But, you know, it'll be 4 losses, which is technically worse. But I think my mind will be at ease that I gave it a shot to try and overcome just the hat trick of shittiness. And I played this 4th game. And it was not going well at the start, but we persevered. Turned out to be the longest fucking game of Dota I've ever played in my life. It was like 1:45, finished up. And
how long was the match itself?
Oh, it was like an hour and 40. It was ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
It was absolutely insane.
Is
And it
there
was so much like back and forth. It was actually turned out to be a very close game.
So I was going to say, is there a point at which you know that it's lost?
Usually,
most games,
usually,
and then what do you just quit, or do you just like forfeit?
Don't you say GG? Is that what the pros do?
Yes, that's what the pros do. But the pros, when you're playing a pro match and you type in GG, then it ends the game after a couple of seconds. But in pub matches, you can write GG all you want, but that shit ain't ending. There's no give up button or anything. You just got to see it through. So what you could do is you could just feed yourself to make the enemy like super, super strong so they could just trample through the rest of the like gate checks, as it were, to get to your final building that they have to destroy. Alternatively, you just wait in the fountain and go AFK. So the fountain's like your safe HQ. But yeah, this one was like very much fucking back and forth. And I think it's interesting because you think that the other team could have finished the game multiple times before you got to the point where you actually won it. But they just didn't capitalize on the opportunity as you saw it. So, I don't know. It was interesting. It was very interesting. And one of those... And then it took me like 2 hours to fucking calm down. So, I didn't get any sleep that fucking night. It's just so fucking...
Too much adrenaline running through your veins, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, but...
you guys must have had that before, though.
Yeah, not Not really.
I've never played a game that could take an hour and 40 minutes to be seen through. I guess that's the difference, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
For me, it's more like you go, oh, I'm just going to... So last night, right, I was playing... I think I played about 3 hours of Ghost of Tsushima last night. And I was like, I'm just going to liberate this camp. I'm just going to do this mission. I'm just going to get this mythic quest. And then there was it was like Masuko was on the beach. And it's like, go to Komodo Beach and defend Masuko. I was like, oh, I can't take long. I'll just do that. And then you're looking at the clock going, shit, I've been an extra hour. Like, I've done that.
That's the other curse. But like, imagine... So the other game that I played, and funny enough, I played it with Jamie on stream. That's twitch.tv/Hot Panic for those of you interested. Stream on Mondays, usually. But we played some Warzone. And Jonesy, unfortunately, you were a bit busy, so you couldn't join us, which was a bit of a bummer. But we played average games. But now, Jamie, imagine those games. Imagine being in a match of Warzone and it taking an hour and 40 minutes. How on edge you're going to be. Because it's like anything, let me put it this way, an average Dota game could last between like half an hour and an hour, like anywhere there. So call it 45 minutes kind of averaged, right? So you're doubling that, and you really don't want to fucking lose if it takes longer than what the average time is. So you start getting like more and more tense, more and more anxious, and more try hard, as it turns out.
I think ultimately I just wouldn't play that game. Like, if you're talking to me, I know what it's like to crash and burn out of a Warzone match earlier than you think you should. And the idea of that process taking an hour and 40 minutes, I'm like, this game doesn't respect my time. And games need to respect our time. That's, I think, part of the ways we weigh up whether or not we're going to play them, right?
True. I'm still on the fence on whether it was worth my time or not. But we won. So hey, fuck it, you know. Well, but Warzone. Yeah, Jamie, you want to talk about our bit of a Warzone?
I mean, you said you thought we had an average session. I thought that it was. I'm not going to say it was below average. It was just a frustrating session.
What you mean is my level, not your level.
No, I'm not talking about levels. I'm just talking about outcomes, and levels factor into the outcomes. But we don't need to. Talk about the specifics of it. Look, we had a couple of good runs, I guess, depending on sort of which how you want to quantify success in a game like Warzone.
I think we had some good facets to the different matches we had, right? Like we had quite a few good gulag recoveries, what have you. It was fun.
Yeah. A couple of attempted most wanted contracts to keep things spicy for the folks at home. I think the reason it was a tough one is because we tried to cap it on a big result, and we came very close, second place. And
so then close, dude.
I hope you don't mind me telling the world this, Chris, but we blew it.
No,
we had a 2-on-1 situation for the win in our favor, and we blew it.
Yeah. Oh, but hold on, because we after the stream we were talking about it and kind of dissecting it a little bit, and I wonder if you actually forgotten, but you had that fucking mask glitch.
I had the gas mask glitch, yeah.
So fair enough, because maybe if you didn't have that, things would have been a bit better. I don't know. Maybe if I changed up my gun or something. Don't know.
What is the gas mask glitch?
Well, there are two versions of the gas mask. One's an actual glitch. One is just a sort of a design flaw, an oversight. It depends. The different words you could use, but ultimately they haven't changed it, so they clearly stand by it. One is an issue where you essentially cannot aim down sight while also taking your gas mask off, but taking your gas mask off is an automatic thing that you don't have a choice in. So let's say you're standing still, you're putting shots on someone, gas creeps up on you, your guy will automatically put a gas mask on. If you then sprint 6 feet and get out of the gas, he will automatically take the gas mask off. But if you're aiming down sights and shooting, you will be taken out of aim down sight, so he can use one of his hands to take the gas mask off. But obviously, again, there's no option or choice as to whether or not you use the gas mask. It's automatic. So there's a weird thing of do you stay in the gas with the gas mask on so you can keep shooting, and obviously not have to have what is, in Warzone terms, a fairly long period of time where you're essentially, you don't have any options in terms of your offense. The actual glitch is one where the gas mask can break, but you still have the overlay of a cracked gas mask on your screen.
Oh, I see, right.
Which is a glitch. That's a bug.
Yeah. But you had the one
But
where
then,
you were taking your mask on and off.
I had the former, which, you know, the extent to which it's a bug is disputed, I guess, amongst the community. It's just frustrating. Like when you're trying to shoot someone and one element of the game of which you kind of have, like you could argue that you shouldn't have control over whether or not you're putting on the gas mask, because maybe that's an extra layer of complexity that Warzone doesn't need. But in the moment where like you have where a game mechanic is taking you out of ADS and you're just trying to fight someone,
Yeah,
you're losing
but maybe
a
that's
fight,
a
but not
contextual
because
thing,
you're
right?
the second best shooter. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's a contextual thing. Is if you are aimed down sights, it just doesn't fucking put it on for you because you're in a
would
fight,
make
sense.
right? Like fucking hell.
Maybe.
Like it's not. That's not difficult to code in, fellas. I would imagine. I don't know. I'm
Well,
not a coder.
you never know when it comes to Warzone. There are a lot of things that theoretically wouldn't be hard to code in, but they don't do them. A lot of glitches that you think, oh, I'm glad they fixed that. That glitch definitely isn't going to return in 3 months' time and work the exact same fucking way. Shout out to the Stim glitch.
Wow, there you go.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I will say that I know that if they did fix the either of those gas mask glitches, the patch would probably be 150 gigs. So, you know, I think maybe leave it for now.
Yeah, fair. But yeah, a funny thing. I say funny. They probably don't think it's funny, but when we were getting started streaming this, I said on our Discord, "Hey, who wants to join in on some Warzone?" And Joel and Aim were like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And then they went, and obviously because they fucking patch that game every day with fucking multiple gig updates, they couldn't get into the game, so they were waiting for these updates. By the time the updates finished, I'd finished the stream, and Jamie had said he's probably never going to play Warzone again, and they're like, "Fuck."
Yeah, but don't forget, that's what I say after every time I play Warzone.
Yeah,
that's true,
Yeah, so there is hope, Joel, and there is hope, Aim, and whoever else wants to maybe play with us one time. We were saying that though, that as part of the Discord, we need the Patreon levels. We need to kind of reassess those and maybe add a few things. And one of them would be perhaps, don't know what level it would be, but you know, a games night. I don't know, once a week, once a month, whatever it may be, with our patrons.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be pretty sick.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But yeah, that's all I got. What about you, Jamie? I think there's one game that you are
There is
excited about.
By the skin of my teeth, I'm able to talk about the first new game of 2021 that I've actually been able to play. And we'll get into why I almost didn't play it. But I'm talking about Hitman 3.
Hell yeah.
Which
looks fucking sick.
I couldn't agree more. And that's why I picked it up. I know I've got a comically large stack of games still to get through. My hangover from
literally,
the end of
on the screen.
Yeah, some of which is still behind me.
Is Cyberpunk still in the wrapper?
Yes, I've still got a sealed copy of the GOG code for Cyberpunk on my dresser. But Hitman just felt like something that I could play alongside something like Assassin's Creed, because you can dip in and out of those levels and you can run them at different times. I mean, each Hitman game fundamentally is made up of 6 stages, the first run of which always takes less than an hour, probably closer to half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's more like the easing
runs.
you in.
Exactly. So I thought, yeah, I'll pick that up. I can play it alongside it. The issue that I was hinting at earlier is that elements of this game and getting it ready for players of the previous 2 entries were kind of on fire yesterday, as it turned out. So I guess to explain it, there's a setup. So Hitman 3, one of the cool things about it is it's not just a new game with 6 new stages and the completion of the story to the trilogy that they've been doing since 2016. It can also house Hitman 1 and 2. So you can import the levels or the locations from Hitman 1 and 2 and have everything that I have created for this trilogy under one roof. All the challenges, all the outfits, weapons, the mastery levels, and so on and so forth. And which is really fucking cool.
Updates to those levels as well, right? Like to bring them up to scratch with the latest version.
Anytime they do visual changes, for example, they make sure they're consistent amongst all the levels. Same with like mechanical changes. I remember one of the example from Hitman 1 to 2 was that like people can notice you doing crimes in mirrors, and that was one thing that they like a change they did in Hitman 2 that they reapplied to stuff in Hitman 1. Little things like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's neat. I mean, for anyone that owns those games, it just makes it a package that's hard to turn down, because those are all really strong levels and there's so many fun sandboxes amongst them. And a part of that is you're going to want to bring, or some people at least are going to want to bring their progress over, because while you are going to want to go back and play Paris and Sapienza and all these hits from years gone by. You also probably want to keep the things you've done in the past. If you've done really good Silent Assassin runs or completed a really hard challenge or got your mastery level up to 20 and all the associated unlocks with that, the suits, the gadgets, the weapons, and so on and so forth. So they implemented a progress transfer that you had to do via a website. You couldn't do anything in-game for some reason. And that website was on fire for the whole day yesterday. I started that process at 1 p.m., which was when the game officially went live and that website officially went live. I successfully played Hitman for the first time this morning.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
So
you could have played it. So you could have played it without your...
But here's the thing, Jonesy. I'm glad you made that point. If you play Hitman 3 and then do the progress transfer afterwards, because, say, maybe the progress transfer website is down, you will lose any of that progress you made in Hitman 3. It overwrites it.
Right.
So you're in a situation where I could have played the game. I could have, say, played the first level of Hitman 3 yesterday, but the progress transfer would have finished today, and I'd have lost anything I did yesterday.
Right.
So some people, such as myself, were in a situation where we almost felt paralyzed, like we couldn't really act in any significant way. And that sucked. That really sucked for a game like Hitman. I know it's always had interesting server and always online related things, but
but here's a question: how is your F5 key looking on your keyboard? were you just there
looser.
spamming reload?
Oh, bro, I refreshed probably 1,000 times across all devices yesterday. Because you'd get to different stages of the website at different... We've all been there when a website is struggling and you're like, this time I got to this page and it stopped working. It was one of those.
Yeah, me and my Argos journey trying to get PS5 when I had it in the fucking basket, and then I had to register or some shit, and then after I registered, it's gone. Sorry, gone. Oh, by the way, our entire shipment is fucking sold out. Wow.
Right. Anyone that tried to pre-order a PS5 can probably relate to the pain of... in fact, to take that back, PS5 pain, probably worse than Hitman 3 pain, but...
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Hitman 3 pain is like knocking your elbow, but PS5 pain is like taking a stapler to the nuts.
It just sucked that if you told me in 2021 that there would be some game with live service elements that I wouldn't be able to play for almost the entire... Well, in fact, literally the entire release day, I wouldn't have put Hitman 3 on that list. And that was a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah.
But there we go. That's the price you pay for having all that progress and all those levels in one place. And I can happily report after a brief session this morning, not as much as I'd have liked to have played, that Hitman 3 is still really good. Hitman, I should say, is still really good is the simpler way to put it. And Hitman 3 brings good new levels to that formula.
You know what was really impressive to me is one of our members on Patreon and Discord, Hooded Dude, he's like... What he was like third best in the world or something at Silent Assassin.
He got the game really early, and he's got plug his YouTube. He's been doing Hitman 3 guides, and he's been doing some. I think they're called Sassos, Silent Assassin suit only runs, which are like. There's a sniper assassin version of it where you have to kill all the targets with a sniper, but like Silent Assassin suit only runs are like one of like the classic kind of like challenges of like for any Hitman player. And he's been getting some runs in early, getting high on the leaderboards, making YouTube content out of it.
Hell yeah.
Fair play to him.
Decent.
Well done, dude. And I guess sorry, go on, Jamie.
I was just gonna say, like, I think Hitman 3 is a really cool thing, and I implore anyone who's intrigued by it to give it a go. I think if you've given Hitman 1 or 2 a go and you bounced off them, then there's no it's similar enough that you don't necessarily need to come back. But I think what's really cool about Hitman 3 from what I've played but also from what I've seen is that like this was an example of a sequel where so much of the mechanics and the fundamentals of the series were put in place and perfected over the course of the last 4 or 5 years. That they kind of almost had carte blanche to just say, well, now we're just going to fire on all cylinders and make the best maps or the best destinations, the best levels we can. And you look at some of the stuff they've done. I think one example is there's an English manor, a sort of estate, this sort of like very kind of misty autumnal feel to it, which is a level within which a murder mystery is taking place. and naturally one of the disguises 47 can don is to wear the disguise of the detective who is investigating the murder mystery. So 47 can solve the murder mystery as part of doing the job he went there to do to begin with. Little things like that are just
super cool. Super cool.
Yeah, and cool examples of IO like flexing, like, hey, we know we don't need to change what Hitman is at this stage. We just need to give you cool playgrounds to mess around with. And it seems like they've succeeded on that front.
Yeah.
You know.
Also, Jonesy, you'll be pleased to know that Hitman 3 gets you Hitman VR, baby, on across all the Hitman titles. Well, all of them, the latest trilogy.
Yes,
that's cool. Do you know what? I don't know if I'll be getting Hitman 3. I'm one of the people that Jamie was talking about that I played 1, I played 2, but I fell off because I find them too sandboxy.
Yeah.
I find them like, oh, you can do whatever you want and you can do it and you can do this challenge and challenge yourself and challenge yourself. And I'm like, I kind of want you to tell me what the game is and how to play it. And how to play it.
But they are.
And then I have a great time for a while and then just kind of.
Yeah, I get you. I kind of feel mostly the same. But they are nice games to have as a pick up, put down kind of thing. And an interesting thing is Hitman 3 is coming to the Switch as a cloud version. And I was just thinking to myself, what a perfect genre for the Switch. To be that kind of like you've got a few moments in time, and what a perfect time to pick up the Switch, play through a mission that'll take you maybe like 20 minutes, whatever it is, and put it down. Like and it's a slow enough pace that, you know, playing on the Joy-Cons not gonna irritate you all that much.
It could be. I'd be interested to see how good it looks. Well, it's obviously in a cloud version, it should be fine.
Yeah, it's going to be like the best version of the game, really.
But I'd still want to sit down and look at it and see how it.
Jamie's
not sure I can get behind that statement. That's pretty,
the best
sweeping.
Among the best looking version of the game, right? Surely.
It's potentially for sure. But
Google
I mean,
Stadia
in reality,
begs to differ.
I'd still want to sit down and try it. I want to see it before I commit to making a statement like that.
Well, every time there's Hitman in the news, it just reminds me when we went to the Hitman 2 launch party, and what a fucking cracker of a time that was.
That was a good party.
That was a really good party. The lowest I've ever been in terms of managing ATG, but like also the highest in terms of like, I don't give a fuck anymore, so let's just have a party. Yeah. And also, I don't know if you remember, but the invitation that we got sent was this like admittedly cheap VR headset, and you put it in and it played you a message from Agent 47, but Agent 47 actually said all-time gaming. And that,
cool.
That was one of the times I was like, fucking, we've made it, boys. We're big time.
We've made it.
I think it was because it was...
Little did we know.
We didn't
Warner
make
Brothers,
it.
Right?
Yeah, it was Warner Brothers.
So they were nicing us a lot at the time, to be fair to them.
Yeah. But yeah, it was cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
But
Hitman's cool.
Hitman's one of those. The problem with Hitman is I really want to play it still. Like, I know that I'll stop playing it and I'll fall off of it, but I still because of how nice they look, because of how good they feel, and because like the humor that they've injected in and the kind of the wacky things you can get involved with in, especially the last one, I know that I want to play it. Like, I want to have a go. But so to have a go, I'm probably going to have to get it. And then will I play? Like, I own 1 and 2, so at least now I know that I can own all 3 of them together on.
Yeah. But you could just wait for like a summer sale as an example.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point. I could do that.
Yeah, especially like if they manage to put all that content on sale. Like, I want to say at the moment, if you're jumping into Hitman completely fresh and had to buy all 3 games, it can still be prohibitively expensive to get it all in one place. That's one thing that they haven't quite not addressed like they need to, but was one thing to note, I guess, for anyone jumping in, having never played one before.
I guess it's hard, right? Because it'll be 3 different publishers at that stage.
Right, exactly. And like, there's also, you'll notice this when, like, I think it's easier on Xbox than it is on PlayStation, but the way you access those levels in Hitman 3 is also very strange, where it's kind of like verifying that you own the game and allowing you to repurchase access to them within Hitman 3, which are new store items that for me were all free. But one example for me is that I own the Hitman 2 Gold version, I think it was, but I don't own Hitman 2. It's one or the other.
I think it would have been Gold Edition. I think because we got sent copies.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. But I went into the store and it was like, okay, you own Hitman 1, great. You own Hitman 2 Gold Edition, great. You don't own Hitman 2, so if you want to buy it for 50 quid, and it's like, what, like, I've had this issue before. I remember it was a Destiny 2 related issue at the time. I feel so sorry for the amount of people every year that must like unwittingly spend 40, 50 quid buying something they already own because the PlayStation Store is still something of a joke all these years later.
Yeah.
Hey, but that's a omission of a feature that actually makes them money. So why would they fix it,
bro? Like, but even the PS5 UI, like, do you know what? Like, one thing that I realized with the PS5 UI, right?
Yeah.
I pre-ordered Hitman 3 on the PlayStation Store. I go to it's in my library. I go to check like what I'm going to start downloading when the preload begins, and there are 2 Hitman 3s in there, the PS4 and the PS5 version, but they're not labeled in that menu, and you can't press options or anything. So as someone who's going to like leave my PlayStation on standby, I just like you have 2 choices. You either download both and delete the wrong one, or you guess.
Yeah.
And if you're someone with data
bullshit.
caps, fucking Christ, fucking Nora, like sort your life out, PlayStation. Great controller, but
love the controller. Hate that.
Man, that's funny. Yeah, all right, cool. Anything else you played, Jamie?
No, it's been quiet. Like Warzone is obviously still sort of going on. I finished Max Payne 3 because I went back to replay that for some reason. I can't even tell you why.
Well, I remember you mentioned that last week.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just a fairly standard gaming week. I didn't manage to get a huge amount done.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Maybe we'll be different this time next week.
Well, hey, listen, talking about Max Payne 3, I've got a comment of the week for you, Jamie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This is from Just a Guy. I fucking loved Max Payne 3 so much, wishing for a part 4, but won't hold my breath. Then again, it ended as well as it could have for him, so I'm not sure that I want him to come back.
Yeah, I agree with Just a Guy. First of all, in that Max Payne 3 is a fantastic game. I'm not going to call it underrated because it wasn't underrated. It was very well reviewed and it sold very well. But it is still something that I think is perhaps underappreciated, that not many people look back on as fondly as they should.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think as for part 4, again, I'm going to have to just agree with Just a Guy on pretty much both fronts, that like the idea of a new Max Payne sounds wicked, but I don't know where you take Max Payne's personal story at this stage. The third one was already such a bizarre outing for him.
Yeah.
Which literally saw him leave behind, the life of being a cop in New Jersey to go and do private security in Brazil, of all places. And fail drastically to protect the people he's there to protect.
You could have a spin-off, I think, would probably work quite well, right? Because one good thing about a game like Max Payne is a lot of it is less so story and mechanics play such a big part in that game.
Yes.
I'm sure you could have a spin-off and you would not have to worry too much about the character.
It's Max Payne Jr.
Max Payne Jr.
Just reboot it with his son.
It's Maxine Payne.
Maxine Payne, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you could still call it Max Payne.
I think you're talking about Mona Sachs. Was it Mona Sachs? I think it was Mona Sachs.
Yeah, I think it was.
Sounds
about right.
I would honestly pay top dollar for remakes of Max Payne 1 and 2.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that.
Like update
I could update
that shit. And not just like, oh yeah, here's just a bump up to fucking 4K. Like do the Mafia 1 remake treatment.
Proper ground up.
Oh.
Yeah. You'd need to, because nowadays as well, because you can bump up the some of the, you could do like a remaster, I suppose, but then the problem is when you get to those cutscenes and it's all the low res image, like comic book stuff, they can't do anything to that, so it's going to look shoddy.
Here's the question though.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Chris. My bad.
That's all right.
I was going to say, if you're remaking, like Mafia Definitive Editioning Max Payne 1 and 2, do you get Rockstar to do it and the Max Payne 3 team, or do you get Remedy to do it? Remedy all the way. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I've got a bigger question. Do you hire known whatever he was, I can't remember, Mark Wahlberg to
known racist.
No, you most definitely
to come and
do
voice
not.
And be the guy they base the character on.
Although you can have Mila Kunis just hang around the office or
Mila Kunis was in that. Do you want to know a weird bit of trivia about me in that film?
Yeah.
I've only seen it once and I saw it in Spanish with no subtitles.
Wow.
Were you in Spain at the time?
I was in Spain at the time.
Makes sense.
Do you speak fluent Spanish?
No, I was just studying it.
Okay, the question is though, were you able to get off?
Well, Mila Kunis was on screen. We've already clarified that much. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's not that hard.
Well, I mean, if it's not that hard, then maybe you didn't get off.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't need to be all the way there. Sometimes it's I didn't think that would...
Would you call it sloppy spaghetti or some shit?
Hang on, please. We don't know who could be listening. Jonesy's mum watches this sometimes.
No, my mom watches it. She listens to it all the time.
I'm the only person whose parents don't know this exists, so I can say whatever the fuck I want.
Fucking hell.
After every episode, Chris's mum calls him and says, "Chris, why always talk about dicks all the time?"
Jesus. She has said to me once or twice, anytime that you aren't on the podcast, Jonesy, she calls me up. She's like, "Is everything all right?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, because Jonesy's left the channel." I was like, "What are you talking about?"
She's left the channel.
And I think
What's funny is she calls me every time you're not on it and asks me if you've left the channel.
Yeah, what have you
And
done
I'm
to
like,
my
yeah,
son? Anyway, fucking hell. Yeah, games, fellas. Hopefully next week we can talk about more games, but I don't know. There's not a lot coming out in the next couple of weeks, is there?
Yeah, there's not really.
Kind of dry.
Yeah, and it's interesting because last week we had the news broke that sorry, let's start again. I'm getting tongue-tied.
Okay.
And well, guys, there's not many games coming out in the next few weeks, is there?
No, it's a quiet time of year, that's for sure.
Yeah, always is beginning of the year, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have some more info soon about Resi Village. That's actually happening tonight at the time of recording, so apologies if you know all about it, but we don't. But, fuck it, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But yeah, last week there was some news that dropped about Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy being delayed into 2022.
Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Go on, Chris. Let's hear it. Let's hear your Harry Potter voice.
All right, Hagrid. Can I have some more, please?
It's Oliver Potter.
Whatever. But yeah, and funnily enough, Jason Schreier warned that, hey, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to delays. So I thought it might be interesting if we took a look at the biggest upcoming releases, maybe gauge our anticipation levels. It's also like information for people to know what should be coming out this year. And then maybe we can do a little bit of crystal ball gazing, fellas. Do you want to look at my balls?
Are they actually
ones.
crystal? Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
sure.
say,
Yeah.
like,
It was
that sounds quite
unfortunate.
impressive.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate...
Do they sparkle?
They do. It was an unfortunate accident at the Neisner Heads, so make that of what you will. All right, guys. Okay, January. Obviously, we had Hitman 3 coming out, so no problems there other than the fucking debacle that Jamie just mentioned. But on the 28th, The Medium is coming out, which is a game that has already been delayed, but
Right.
I'm guessing it's close enough. It's 7 days away at time of recording that, it's coming out on the 28th. It should be fine. I don't see them delaying it further.
Yeah.
But that game looks cool, but I think we're all agreed in that's the kind of game that we would never play ourselves because we are chicken shit of scary games. But that would be a game that we would play if we were all together and streaming it or making a Let's Play.
Making
would.
Jamie play it while we sit there and laugh every time he does a giant jump.
And the funny thing is, I don't think I'd even protest that much because the cool thing about The Medium is that, like, of all these studios investing into horror games in recent years, Bloober Team have been amongst the more forward-thinking ones in terms of how they've tried to mix things up.
Yeah, totally.
Like Blair Witch had some really cool ideas, and we played Layers of Fear 2 back on ATG in the day as well. I guess this is also one for some Xbox heads. What are they called? Box heads? Box boys? X-Men?
X-Boys.
Yeah.
X-Boys?
Exhibits.
Series, what's a series simps?
I
don't know.
Turbo, I don't know. Yeah, all right, fine. Whatever. What's your point, fella?
Whatever. I'm saying they're going to be looking forward to this because I think this is a kind of a Microsoft have got their fingers in this pie, and I'm pretty sure this is not coming to PlayStation, and it will also be on Game Pass.
Ooh.
So
Game Pass.
Maybe
we should play it. Maybe we should.
Maybe we should. Oh, but I was going to say, in the limited landscape that is Xbox console exclusives, I think The Medium is actually one of the larger games on that list. Which
is
wanted to shout out.
Like all props to Bloober Team, but you're not really a console seller, are you? But anyway,
Yeah.
All right. Well, fellas, so that those are known quantities for January. Look, there's other games coming up, but we've just kind of chosen the top, the marquee ones, the ones that we should be talking about, the ones we should be caring about. And maybe there are games that are coming out that you would like to hear us talk about, but we might not be interested in them or not actually have anything to say on them. So, bear with us.
Yeah.
But,
I'll throw another clause out there, just to say, they don't actually have release dates yet. There were loads of games I was like, we were making this list, and I was like, why haven't I written down the name of this game? And I looked it up, and it's like, technically we don't know when that's coming out.
Yeah.
So if it seems also a little bit threadbare until the end where we go through all the unknown quantities, that's why.
Well, there are a lot of unknowns.
Which is fair. The beginning of each year, there are a lot of unknowns because usually it would be, hey, let's wait until E3 so we can announce our launch date. So if it's anything that was meant to come out after the middle of the year, then it's not going to have a date attached to it more than likely.
Much.
All right, but look, we're looking at February, okay? And on the 11th of Feb, we've got Little Nightmares 2, a game that I'm pretty excited about. And I know that our very own Steph Murphy fucking loves Little Nightmares and is also looking forward to Little Nightmares 2. So there we go. What'd you guys think?
Did we really need another horror game? That's no.
I mean, I don't know, because Little Nightmares is, I suppose, is a little bit different, at least, because at least it sort of stands. It's not a typical horror game like that. It's like
it's more creepy than horror, right?
It's also the way that it plays, this little side-scrolly, platformy type of deal. It's not as it's not quite as
it's cutesy horror.
It's cutesy horror. You can go.
One of the trailers they did for that game, I can't remember what it was, but Inside the Last Year was legitimately one of the creepiest trailers I've seen in a long, long time.
It does a really good job of like taking creepy and mixing and almost feeling Tim Burton-esque, I think, which I liked about Little Nightmares. And you put those two things together, it's more like Nightmare Before Christmas, or is it Coraline? I think is that kind of creepy. And I hate horror games because I'm a massive like wimp. But when it comes to like Little Nightmares, I think it's actually they work on the right side of creepy. So I probably won't play this just because it's still maybe a little bit too on that side of it. But I'd quite like to see some stuff about it. I enjoyed the first.
I enjoyed some of the stream, Alex Jones.
Is there
exactly? I'll wait for the stream.
Have I made it up in my head, or is there some kind of multiplayer or even co-op component to this?
I think there are meant to be two characters, but I don't know if it translates into a co-op stuff. I don't remember.
Right? Yeah. Wikipedia is saying single player. I think I just manufactured that in my head because there are, as you said, two characters on the box art.
It's apparently an AI controlled buddy.
Yeah,
I just found something.
Which is a bit of a shame. Like that would be cool if it was co-op, because then it makes more sense to kind of do it as a tandem kind of stream or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm looking at all these titles, fellas, and I'm like, either I want to play them for myself, or it's like, I'll just fucking stream that. I'll stream that. Yeah, cool, stream that.
I'd love to watch a stream of Little Nightmares too. Like, I think that's how I'd rather consume.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's fucking plug old Steph over at Technuovo on Twitch, because he will definitely stream that. I'm 100% certain.
He did a let's play of the entire first game on the YouTube channel of all things, so he's definitely looking forward to this.
Yeah. All right, then moving on, the very next day, February the 12th, we've got Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Dum dum dum.
Yeah. A chance perhaps to blow the dust off the Switch? I don't know.
Yeah, tell me about it. I was actually thinking, like, because remember, what was it, like a month or two ago, where it's like, oh yeah, you should probably charge your Switch like 2 times a year, otherwise it might brick itself. I was like, fuck. So it was yesterday, actually. I was like, I just got to plug my Switch in because it's just sitting in my bedside table.
Make sure this thing's alive.
Yeah, fucking hell. But yeah, Super Mario 3D World, such a curious case, because this was the marquee Mario title on the Wii U, which obviously no one bought the Wii U. So this is almost the second lease of life for it. But interestingly enough, and I wonder if this is the first time it's ever happened, where it's a re-release of a game, but then they've added brand new, like a big brand new DLC pack, an expansion of all, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. Like watching that trailer, I gotta be honest, having not owned a Wii U, I wasn't super familiar with 3D World and what it did and didn't contain.
Yeah.
And watching that trailer, I was like, I don't think I really understood the extent to which Bowser's Fury was a new thing and to what scale it existed. I guess that's part of the
Yeah.
appeal of the package, though, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's going to be quite substantial, you know? I think there's going to be a lot of content there. Plus, they showed off Bowser goes like fucking gigantic and on fire and all shadowy and shit. It's pretty cool. Looks cool. You know, like Mario games are great. I've missed out on this Mario game, so that's an easy buy for me. Maybe not like day one, but, you know, it'll stick around.
Yeah.
It's the whole 35th anniversary thing, though. My issue with the whole thing is I'm still looking forward to a new Mario game, and it's like they keep teasing us with semi-new content.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, this is you got some expansion for this. You're like, can I just have a new game?
Yeah.
Nah.
Where's my Galaxy
have an old
3
game.
fucking Miyamoto?
Nah, Odyssey 2.
I'll be honest with you.
Odyssey 2 would be cool.
It probably would be an Odyssey 2 before it would be a Galaxy 3, which hurts me. But at the same time, I can't really be that upset because Odyssey is dope. So, yeah.
Odyssey is dope.
I'd be really into it at the moment as well, because you saying about blowing the dust off your Switch. My Switch is burning hot at the moment for the amount it gets used. Because let's see, it's a kid's system, and my 4-year-old cannot keep his hands off of it. So it is used multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Not sure if he's quite ready for Super Mario Worlds.
Yeah,
Maybe.
It's crazy to me to think that, like, okay, so I still have the Mario 3D All Stars that I haven't finished on my Switch. I still have, obviously, Breath of the Wild, which I refuse to finish. I've got...
Why?
It's just one of those stupid...
Because you don't want to, because it's not as good as everyone's...
No, because it's amazing that I just don't want it to end. But in doing so, I just haven't played it in like 2 years. But anyway, I've also got the fucking demo for the latest Dragon's Quest 11S, because the demo is like fucking, I don't know, like 16 hours long or something. So I could sink in some serious fucking time to
How's that a demo?
That's the demo, dude, yeah. And if you buy the game, you know, your progress carries over. So it's smart. There's a Brave...
And the actual game is 17 hours long. So.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Pay for the ending.
Oh my God, that would be so funny. Yeah, ending DLC. There's a Bravely Default 2 demo on there that I want to try. So there's a lot of things there's a lot of reasons for me to pick it up, but I don't know. Just really kind of unenthused. And I guess that's why, like, I wasn't here on the podcast when you guys were talking about all the Switch Pro rumors. And a part of me is like, hey, you know, any kind of like upgrade to Switch I'm all for it. But at the same time, I just don't think what am I going to do with it? I'm not even playing my Switch currently. Like, what we really need are those fucking massive broad appeal games, or maybe not broad appeal, because, you know, we've got Animal Crossing and fucking whatever, but just need more. I just need more, fellas.
Do you honestly think that would make a difference to your Switch playing habits? More games?
Yes, because like, let me put it this way: if a new, like, let's take 3D Mario World out of it, okay?
Yeah.
If a new Mario game like Odyssey 2 or Galaxy 3 or fucking, I don't know, like Super Mario Colonoscopy or something, like that's a must-play game. So I will buy that on day one, and I will fire up my Switch, and I will play that game to completion, right? The same with like a new Zelda probably, or a Metroid, whatever it is. As long as there's that like marquee title that's a must-play, then yeah, I'll go to it. Like, if there's an equivalent of like, Spider-Man Miles Morales, I'll go and play it. Or if there's an equivalent of, I don't know, a Sekiro sequel that's only on Switch, I'll definitely go play it. Like, it's not like I don't want to.
They do seem to. It's like a secondary option system in a lot of ways, the Switch, with a lot of games that you can also play on Switch, and it's never going to be my go-to for those sorts of games, because you're going to be making a compromise with regard to quality. You're going to be making a compromise with regard to even just like controls. Like, the controllers on the Switch are not going to be on par with a more expensive console.
That's why I think in some respects the Switch was the console that was least suited to being played more during a lockdown, which many of us have been in for so much of last year. Because it means 24/7 I'm in a room with a computer with a 2080, a PS5, an Xbox One X, and then the Switch is just kind of over there. Yeah. And unless there's an exclusive, which, hey, 2020 wasn't a big year for Switch exclusives unless you really like Animal Crossing. Like, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, Animal Crossing Animal Crossing did fucking the heavy lifting, right? And that's fine, nothing wrong with that. And I can see like Monster Hunter Rise is going to do it for a lot of people. But I'm not into Monster Hunter, and I'm not into Animal Crossing. So it's like, okay, so why am I going to switch on my Switch?
Switch on the Switch. Yeah, exactly. Like, I had a moment the other day where I remember we've mentioned him a couple of times, but our patron and Discord sort of community member, Peaswad, who is a big Switch advocate, and he played, whatever it was, hundreds of hours of Hades on the Switch.
Yeah.
And I thought about, oh yeah, Hades, such a good game. But then they're like, why would I buy that again? And then just sit next to my PC. I'd sit in the same chair that I would sit on it to play on PC, but just to play on my Switch. Like, probably on an inferior controller and an inferior screen, like, on an inferior platform. Like, it's a hard sell. It really is.
I tell you,
Yeah.
I'm very, very close to buying a Switch exclusive game at the moment in the shape of Pokemon Sword or Shield, which I haven't bought yet. But again, it's because
For the younglings.
For the younglings, they love a bit of Pokemon, and those are the sorts of games that, if like you guys have said, if they brought out a new exclusive game for the Switch, then it'd be all over it. But when you can opt for it on a better system, like probably not going to opt for it from the Switch.
All right. Anyway, boys, moving on. February 23rd, Persona 5 Strikers. Never played a Persona 5 game in my life, even though it is a JRPG, of which I am a fan.
This is actually, though, a Musu game.
Is it a Musu game, or wasn't there one that's more like a Diablo-ish kind of game?
Perhaps I'm less familiar with. I was under the impression that this was a Musu game being made by like the people who make all the Omega Force, whatever they're called.
All right.
Like, my understanding of this was that this was almost the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity of the Persona 5 world, in that it uses like the concepts and the story and the setting and the characters, but is a Musu game. I don't know. Some people are looking forward to this thing.
Loads of people.
There was some chatter in our Discord.
Persona 5, in and of itself, is like such a highly regarded game. Loads of people are like, you got to play this, you got to play this. And every time I hear them, I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should play this. And then I realize that it's a JRPG and it'll probably take me like 80 hours to complete. And I can't.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually free as part of the PlayStation Plus collection for PlayStation 5 owners.
Ah, right.
It's not Persona 5 Royal, which was the updated one, which streamlined some elements, but just like vanilla Persona 5 is a part of that. And I looked at it, it was like, I kind of own Persona 5 right now, but I can't bring myself to start it.
Come on, Jamie, try it. Well, one of you try it out and give us a report.
Can Jonesy do it?
Yeah, go on, Jonesy.
All right, I'll have a dip.
Just like, let's say 2 hours, like an evening. Just do an evening,
Okay, I'll play a bit.
And then we'll do the Jonesy report.
I'm probably excited for this.
Yeah.
You'll ask me next week about so what did you think? I'll be like, I've got no idea. Sorry, guys. And you'll be like, oh, you didn't play it? I'll be like, no, I played it, but I still have no idea.
Yeah, I couldn't get it out of the Japanese language option. So anyway. And then we come up to our first TBA, fellas. And this is a curious one. It's Destruction All-Stars. There's no announced date for it. However, it is meant to be February's PlayStation Plus game for the PS5.
Yeah. Which could mean either that it's coming out... I don't know if they mean it's coming out in like a week's time, like for February, or if it's coming out in February for March. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's like comes out in a week or two.
I know. That game looks fun. Like,
yeah.
And I think a perfect kind of PlayStation Plus title for it as well, because as fun as it looks, it almost kind of seems like the Fall Guys effect to me, where I can have fun with it, but I'll probably be done with it just as quick as I can have fun. I don't know. Yeah. I might be wrong.
Yeah. I think those games, though, are so hard to tell which way they're going to go. They either go epic and everyone starts streaming them, they get played for months and months and months, and it's almost like, how do we live without this? Or they get played for like a few weeks, some streamers play it, and then it dies and we never talk about it again. And I'm so like... on the edge with a lot of these games. I don't know which way they're going to go. And this is one I'm going to... Okay, if you had to put your money on where you're going to say, I say this is maybe sticks around and does surprisingly well.
Destruction All-Stars.
Yeah. I don't know what. Maybe it's because the opposite of how I feel, so I'm going to punt and say it's the reverse.
Okay, related to like, say... I mean, not Rocket League, which is trying to kind of get its inspiration from, but if we say like a level of success of say Fall Guys, not in the first month because that was ridiculous.
Okay, let's say bigger than Fall Guys.
Bigger than Fall Guys, like let's say in a six month period.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't see
because I could easily see it going both ways, but I'm going to punt and say it's bigger than Fall Guys over a 6 month period.
It's one of those games that's just such a fucking head scratcher. So, so for those who don't know, it's almost like Rocket League meets, I don't know, some kind of like a brawler where you can get out of your car and beat shit up.
No, it's a destruction derby where you losing your car is not the end of the fight, so to speak, because you can run around that track and you can jump over other cars, and I presume there's going to be some way to maybe get your car back or get someone else's car and so on and so forth.
So the thing for me that really makes these games work and really makes them pop is if there are unforeseen tactics and unforeseen ways to play the game. So, for example, if within inside of a month, everyone immediately gets out of their cars and runs and gets weapons and then has a fight and then gets in a car and they're like, oh, we never expected people to play this game like this, then it will do well. If it is just the case of, oh, you can basically just drive around and when your car blows up, you run around until you get run over, then I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's too simplistic and it'll die off.
If they have this particular feature, I may be on your side, Jonesy. If they have, like, say, some kind of a all chat system, like voice chat system, then I would agree.
That would be quite cool.
Then I would agree because, like some kind of a proximity chat or something. But how would you do that with cars? Because you're fucking driving off and I don't know.
Do you know what would be quite funny is if they had, if you could only do it where you hold the key down, you hold a button down to talk, like push to talk, but you had to hold it down like CB radio, so that you had to hold it down to go like insult everyone and then let go of the button and then someone else could talk, but only one person could talk at a time. That'd be quite fun.
It'd be like, oh, fuck your mother, you fucking cunt. Over.
Yeah.
Do you copy? Do you copy?
Jamie's out already. He's like, nope. I don't want to do this.
I'm still thinking about whether or not it's going to do well. I don't know.
It's such a head scratcher.
I've got a feeling it's going to struggle.
Do you know? Okay, there's a game
I'm optimistic for the game, but I just don't. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I feel like we've been talking. There's a reason we still use Rocket League as the frame of reference when Rocket League itself is like 5 years old. It's because nothing else has ever done it quite like Rocket League.
Yeah.
And Rocket League's not really about driving, right? Rocket League is about playing a little game of football. You just happen to be driving. Whereas this game is like, no, you're driving, and it's about destroying other people. It's like, I could if you said to me it's Rocket League without the ball and you were trying to explode other vehicles, I'd be like, that doesn't sound as fun as
I don't know,
playing Rocket League.
Anyway, Jonesy, another game that you might be interested in, although probably not judging by the reveal, is March the 18th, Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake. Alex Jones, something that you have been chomping at the bit for. Not this particular one, as it turns out, but something, something akin to it.
Not like, okay, it's too much of an unknown quantity still. I think that trailer looked trash. I don't think it looked good at all. I would go as far as to say it was a massive disappointment.
Jonesy, it looked like a mobile game, dude. Or maybe that's being kind to mobile games, because some mobile games look absolutely fucking phenomenal these days.
Like, if you're like me and you've been waiting for a proper Prince of Persia type game for like however long we've been waiting, and then to get this is almost a bit of a kick in the teeth. I don't know how it can redeem itself.
Are you going to pick it up, though? Are you going to be like, my love of Prince of Persia outweighs...
I'll have to wait for the reviews. No, I've been stung. Prince of Persia, was it Legacy, that piece of crap, cel-shaded, rubbish, shitty thing.
Oh, jeez.
One of the worst, I want to say it was Christmas. Maybe it was Christmas. One of my worst Christmases. I got that game and I was so psyched because it like hadn't been out. I don't think it'd been out that long. And I was like, oh, I've wanted to play another Prince of Persia game for such a long time. And I put it in and I was like, what is this? Like, this is not
it's a good game. That's what
it is not. It is despicable.
Good game. It's a good game.
It might be a good
Prince
game,
of Persia 2008 sitting on an 84%.
Oh, wow.
Or 85 on Metacritic.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's a good game. Destructoid gave it a 9.5 out of 10. Seems like a damn good game.
2008. What were you, 7, 8?
IGN coming in with the 9.4 out of 10. That's a pretty solid review for what is a very good Prince of Persia game. One of the better Prince of Persia games maybe ever.
Jesus Christ.
There you go.
Prince of Persia, Ubisoft finally deciding to leave behind that emo weirdo from the PS2 trilogy and go in a brave new direction. Try something different.
Do you know what?
Try to make a good
I'm
game
going
once.
the full quartering. I'm going to go anti-games journalism. What are these people talking about? Complete muppets. They've lost their minds. Those games, like Sands of Time, through that trilogy, was so good. And the progression was so good. And then to do this to the fans was disgusting. And I can't believe they did it.
Disgusting.
And they did it.
Wow.
Disgusting. And now they're going to do it again, apparently, because they even called it the same thing. They even called it Sands of Time to get us all excited. And now it's going to be a friggin' mobile game.
It's going to be the same, though. It's going to be... I don't know. It looks fucking weird, but that was a good gameplay, so it might make up for it in that way. Anyway, fellas, on the 19th of March, we're going to be taken to Returnal, the Soccer Mom Simulator 2021.
You know what? Soccer Mom or not.
Well, yeah, looking at some of their gameplay, it does look pretty sick.
Do you know what the gameplay is like? I keep watching it and keep wanting to be excited by it, and I'm like, there's always something that's maybe like Housemarque have gone from making like top-down or side-on arcadey shooters and have tried to make a somewhat more traditional third-person action game, and it hasn't quite worked somehow.
Can I tell you why? And I'm not joking. I think it's the character design, and not just the character design of Soccer Mom. Like the character design of the enemies and stuff, it's difficult to kind of, in my opinion, to discern exactly what's happening where and how. Like there's something to be said for, hey, there's a fucking weak spot, even if there isn't a weak spot, just so you got something to kind of aim at on a person's like area. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It looks cool in terms of, I'll put it this way. It looks cool in the same way that I thought Quantum Break looked cool, in that it looks like a satisfying feeling third-person shooter.
Okay, yeah.
But
I guess, and on that same note of satisfying feeling, the other thing that I want to keep my eye on Returnal for is that this is a PlayStation 5 game that will absolutely make use of the DualSense. And I think we've been on record as saying that the DualSense is a great piece of kit, a great piece of tech.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild, yeah.
Pretty wild. You might have heard your favorite influencer commenting on its wildness, ourselves included. And it's something I'm going to be saying a couple of times through this segment is like, I hope they make good use of that controller. One thing I know they're doing is they're emulating the way Flood worked on the GameCube hit Super Mario Sunshine, in that there are weapons that have one sort of function if you pull the trigger and stop kind of halfway, where there's a kind of there's a stop there.
Yeah.
And if you pull past that, it does something else. It's like an alternate fire.
I think that's going to be so fucking horrible to play with in a game like this.
Oh, tell us more about it. The only person who hasn't used a DualSense controller.
No, just thinking on it.
You'd be surprised.
I think.
No, you'd be surprised, Chris. Like the way that the resistance that you can get from those triggers.
Yeah.
It sounds like it wouldn't work, but it absolutely
When
works.
I loaded up Astrobot and it was teaching me how adaptive triggers worked, I thought my controller was broken. Because I was like, well, I can't pull the trigger anymore. Like, if I go any further, I'm going to snap it. That's what I thought.
Okay. Maybe.
It's very effective.
Maybe. I just think in the heat of battle, you'll be like...
Maybe.
In one mode.
The confidence. Wow.
Yeah, you heard it, yeah. All right, on the 26th, It Takes Two. Fucking... what's his... I never remember the dude's name. God,
Joseph Fares.
Joseph Fares. I like Coke. But yeah, his co-op game, It Takes Two, which... It just dawns on me. I don't think I've actually seen any gameplay of it. I mean, I think I've read all the stuff about it, but I don't think I actually saw the trailer or... I wonder.
It looks really cool. It looks like a very strange, like anime world where from what I've seen, I don't know the story, but it looks like two people get put into a crazy world where they almost like little animated characters, and they're running around. It's almost like Little Big Planet-esque in some of its stylistic design. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this game. I think it looks genuinely exciting and interesting, and some of the dialogue and the script writing and things seem pretty cool.
One for the stream, Alex Jones.
Yes, I'm going to get my lovely wife to play it with me, and we can play maybe on stream. It'll be good.
Oh yeah, there you go. All right, fellas, I know you guys are big Monster Hunter fans. 26th is the date for you. Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch.
Gonna keep playing that demo every single day until it comes out.
Yeah, Monster Hunter. Okay.
I don't know, man.
I heard you can ride your dog this time.
Yeah, and you can lasso in midair and whatever. I don't know. I just never got into Monster Hunter because I always felt too bad for the things that you're hunting. Because like you got to like break their legs and snap their wings, and then they kind of like hobble about. And I'm not about that life. Yeah, don't worry, Jamie. I know you like to fucking destroy dogs, though. Like I know what you're about.
I was going to say, hunting the monsters is the fun part of Monster Hunter. Like wailing away at something for fucking 3 hours and its tail falls off. I think, oh, maybe I'm getting somewhere, but I have no idea because it doesn't have a health bar. That's the joy of Monster Hunter. Yeah. The thing I don't like about Monster Hunter is all the admin you have to do to play the fucking thing. It takes about 3 hours before you're doing anything fun, 4 hours more if you want to do it with a friend, and 6 hours more till you finish the actual hunt.
Okay, but hold on, because you enjoyed playing Dauntless, which is Epic's take on
because you know what Dauntless did? Do you know what Dauntless did?
Yeah.
It said, hey, hunting monsters is fun. A lot of the other bullshit kind of isn't. So what if we just made a game about hunting monsters?
Yeah, where you literally drop in, the monster's there, you fight it, and it's kind of straightforward.
I get it, but it's just one of those things like Monster Hunter World, I think for a lot of us was the closest we ever came to sort of coming round on the Monster Hunter franchise because it was in some ways the most approachable.
Yeah.
That's in the series so far. But even that, I looked at it and was just like, there's layers to this that I don't really want to delve into. And maybe that's just me being stubborn, and maybe it's the same stubbornness that is like why the two games that we're not really able to comment on so far in this little thing we're doing are Persona 5 related and Monster Hunter related.
Yeah,
maybe that's on us. Maybe we need to get over our Japanese phobia.
Maybe we're missing something. Well, hey, you know what? People can let us know in the comments down below what we're missing on Monster Hunter. Convince us. Give us the TLDR of why we should be playing Monster Hunter.
So the one thing that always made me feel a bit off about Monster Hunter is, I swear, I've only played it a little bit, but every time you play it, you approach the animal and it's usually asleep, like laying there, just hanging out, and then you go up to it and go and start just stabbing it or doing whatever.
You're the douchebag. You play the
Yes.
Yeah.
You are the douchebag. Whereas in a game like, at least with like Shadow of the Colossus, you come across the giant thing and then it tries to squish you. So then you're like,
minding its own business.
You've gone looking for it.
Yes, it does.
You got on your horse.
And it tries to squish you
in the air, and you're like, there it is. That's the thing I'm going to go and kill.
Charge.
But when I get near to it, it tries to kill me.
Yeah, so would a bear.
Monster Hunter. But in Monster Hunter, it doesn't.
Yeah, Jonesy, if you went near a bear, it would try and kill you. But if you met someone who professionally killed bears for no reason, you'd think he was an arsehole.
But in Monster Hunter, I swear that every time I've played it, they're basically just asleep until you start attacking them, or they try and run away.
Yeah.
So a bear would be asleep until you tried to attack it. If it was actually asleep,
it would wake up and smack.
And
your face
bears
off.
do run away from humans, but some bears also eat humans.
Very few, apparently.
There we go.
But there is a difference.
Fellas.
There is a difference. I want to say in what was the one we were talking about a second ago that we played, the little arena hunter, monster hunter,
Dauntless.
Dauntless. In that they attack you as well. I'm pretty sure they attack you. Maybe they don't. I can't remember.
Yeah, because but again, in that, it's a monster in its natural habitat that 4 people who have very clearly come there for the express reason of chopping that monster up to bits are running around with swords, like setting off flares whenever they find it. But they're not there for a chat.
Maybe you are vets and you are there
do you
to
think the
heal
monsters
it.
in Monster Hunter like open one eye from their sleep and like, oh, that guy with a little cat next to him has got a 9-foot sword. I wonder what he's here for.
He's there to cut his toenails because the monster has big toenails.
That guy has literally spent the last 15 minutes sharpening his sword because that's a mechanic in this game. I wonder if he's here for a little chin wag. No, he's here to take your scales off and turn them into armor.
Yeah.
Wow. There we go. All right, guys. Well, the next TBD or TBA game coming out in March, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, which is a gorgeous looking game. PlayStation 5 exclusive, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm looking forward to this.
Okay.
We need to see more of it, but like this struck a lot of really cool notes in terms of like really nice, simple art style, but very pretty in terms of its fidelity, potential for some almost like Legend of Zelda style action adventure gameplay, but with obviously the kind of Lemmings, Pikmin stuff on top of that. Really hopeful for this. Really hopeful.
Yeah. Well, I hate to burst your bubble because this is the first one that I'm going to say I think it's going to be delayed.
Possibly. I mean, this March release date that we put it down for, this came from the thing where Sony accidentally, or well, later they walked it back, but they released a version of some trailers at, I think it was CES, that had in the small print release dates or release ranges for a bunch of games, and this was one of them. They've since re-released that trailer without those ranges, which means either they're walking it back or they were estimates or they weren't meant to be public. Who knows? But I think you're possibly right.
Yeah, I think so. And that brings us to the end of Q1. So we've got two more kind of bigger or more interesting names to talk about. We're talking about Roller Champions, which is Ubisoft's kind of rollerblade take on Rocket League, which has been, I don't know, it's been such a strange journey for that game anyway. I don't think anyone really cares at this point. So whenever it comes out, it comes out. But Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart does not have a release date other than quote-unquote Q1.
Yeah.
That one...
And it looks so good. We need a release date.
It so does.
Yeah.
I just want to get to that Rift system looks off the hook.
Yeah, and Ratchet & Clank games are just always fucking fun, aren't they? Like, it doesn't matter which one you're playing. They're always fun. Do you think that that'll be delayed? Seeing as it doesn't have like a firm release date?
I hope not, bro. I think on the PlayStation side of things, I think looking at like a Q1 that's just Returnal would be a bit of a bummer. I really hope that they were planning to have Ratchet as the kind of like the follow-up sort of first 3 to 6 months after console launch. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Especially because it's a showcase game for the DualSense, for the speed of the SSD.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways, Ratchet is a showcase game. And I think we talked about before how you play something like Astro's Playroom and it makes you excited for Ratchet & Clank because you're like, wow, this is how transformative an experience just a simple action platformer can be.
Yeah.
I hope it delivers on that.
Yeah. I hope so for your guys' sake because... Yeah, like I said, Ratchet & Clank games are great. I remember
Chris, you can come around for a sleepover. We can roast some marshmallows, play some Ratchet. It's all good.
Nice. I like it. I'm going to do it.
I'm a little bit hopeful. Can I just say quickly, because it's been listed as Q1, they haven't given it a specific date.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that the reason they've done that is because they didn't want to say Jan or Feb, but they're like, let's get ourselves to the end of March and it'll be out. Do you know what I mean? So I'm hopeful.
Maybe.
I hope so.
Which means we could see it in under 2 months. Or 2 months.
That would be wicked. I'd love that.
Yeah, I will say that the demo that they showed off, the trailer, whatever, that seemed to have gameplay footage. Am I right in saying it was like this is actual gameplay? That seemed.
I think you're right in saying that.
That seemed pretty far along. So yeah, you'd hope so. Anyway,
it's when they do a friggin' Cyberpunk. It turns out that was not a real game. It didn't really exist. They just made it.
Mate, I have bones to pick about that fucking thing because how the fuck do you think most games are made? like we have Raising Kratos, the documentary about God of War, which is one of the greatest games, not just of the generation, but of all time. And they basically said, oh yeah, that first gameplay demo you saw, we just fucking cobbled that together. We have no idea what we're doing. but it's okay because hey, guess what? The game came out and it was fantastic, and it's just part of the process. And all of a sudden, it's part of the process for a game that came out like completely fucked, and everyone's like, oh well, we're just gonna hate on this now. Just get over it. That's how
I was surprised.
That's how this shit works.
No, but when they said that, but I was surprised with to the level of which it's like, oh, that's not a real game. That's just botched up.
I don't know because I mean, they're obviously.
I didn't mean to derail the conversation by talking about Cyberpunk.
No, but because I get annoyed about this shit because obviously they might not have had built it up to that point, but they clearly had a blueprint of saying this is the type of thing that we want to see, and it's like, hey, if that's what you're making anyway, then fucking cobble it together for a gameplay demo that you're going to show off at E3. Why not? That's what fucking E3 is for, and that's what companies do. It's bullshit to call it out on that. It's unfair.
You can't expect people to show exactly what they had available at the given time because you'd be nothing.
Yeah,
It'd be
like fucking hell.
Some buggy, glitchy mess for sure.
Anyway, moving on to April the 1st in what is most definitely not an April Fool's joke is the release of Outriders. So there you go.
Yeah.
Jamie, you've played Outriders.
I have. I played about 4 or 5 hours of that game over a year ago now, as crazy as that is to say.
Over a year?
Over a year ago.
So there's no way that that's getting delayed, you'd hope.
Well, you'd hope not. I think it's already been delayed a couple of times. And at some point they've just got to bite the bullet and put that game out. I obviously enjoyed when I played of it back in 2020, and I'm hopeful they're able to deliver on a lot of the promise of that game.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one. It's a difficult sell in terms of the genre, the look, and the world, and I worry it might slip between the cracks for some people so it doesn't stand out enough.
So remind me, it's third person, isn't it? And it's almost like looter shooter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a third person looter shooter in the vein of like a Division or something like that.
Yeah.
Made by People Can Fly, who previously owned by Epic Games until they bought themselves out, worked on things like Bulletstorm, which was that kind of over-the-top first-person shooter, and Gears of War Judgment, I think it was called, the kind of spin-off that came out after 3. So there's some pedigree there. They can make a good shooter. The fundamentals are all there. They've got the trappings and the foundations for an interesting world and an interesting story, but it's hard to know how they build on that. What they're going to struggle with, I think, as I said just then, is sort of identity.
Yeah.
And in a world where like making a game that looks like a sort of sci-fi fantasy take on The Division, when games like Destiny are already out and established and so on and so forth, it might be tough for them to find a niche and to find an audience.
Yeah.
I hope they can, but we'll see.
You know,
can I give you
Go on.
Can I give you a little update about Outriders that we haven't talked about, I don't think.
Please do.
Which is the free playable demo which they've announced to come out next month.
Ooh,
yes.
Nice.
I think it's coming out on what the original release date was. Like they delayed it but announced that a demo would come out on the old release date.
Fair enough.
I think it's from what I can see, I think the original release date was February 2nd, but the demo's out 25th of Feb, so it's quite a long time after. But they basically said that because they know it's a new IP and people probably want to get their hands on something before they commit to a new IP. And so ahead of release on April the 1st, they'll be giving people a chance to play. On February 25th,
Dude,
there'll be a free demo.
So there you go. It's so essential on a new IP, especially one with Outriders. Like, if I think of all the key art and the trailers that I've seen of Outriders, which, to be fair, it's not really on my radar, so I don't pay that much attention to it, but I couldn't tell you what any of the characters look like. Do you know what I mean? Like, you talk about an identity problem.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just, it's a generic space thing in a dusty planet.
I think
like
it looks quite Destiny, doesn't it, Jamie? Isn't that? Am I thinking right about the trailer?
For some reason, it doesn't register as Destiny to me. Like Destiny is almost like a far cleaner, almost sci-fi world. There is something almost like Mad Maxy about some elements of Outriders' future. And some of its enemy design and some of its weapon design and stuff like that is almost a little bit more like grungy in my mind than a Destiny.
But you came away quite positive with the time that you played with it. I remember.
Well, yeah, I came away positive, but then also like I was playing, it was a co-op kind of session. I was playing with people that I knew by that point that I'd been speaking to for a little while, and sort of like anyone when they're sat down in a room with people they like and told to play a co-op looter shooter for 4 or 5 hours and given free Red Bull while they're doing it. Like you're going to have an okay time. Like that's just the way that preview events sometimes go. And that, I don't know. One thing I will say is that they've clearly, as evidenced by the fact that I played this game for like 5 or 6 hours, and not even like short amounts of the game, like what's felt like fairly large chunks of the game, complete with full on. The cutscenes were already done. The voice acting was already done. 3 of the 4 classes were done and had all their skill trees laid out. Like this is a game that they've been working on for a while. There is an opportunity for us to loop back around to a conversation we're having a few months ago where Jonesy and I famously argued about Marvel's Avengers and the opportunity for looter shooters or whatever you want to call them to learn from the mistakes that games like Diablo 3 and Destiny and The Division had to learn from over the course of their releases, and in some cases even sequels and paid expansions, for Outriders to learn those lessons from the off. In terms of a volume of loot and loot variety and how often and how regularly you are given loot in terms of the end game. I've already seen, last year they're experimenting with stuff from Diablo, like world levels and world tiers and stuff like that sometimes Destiny and Divisions either didn't get around to or thought of other ways around.
Yeah.
There's potential here for them to create something that has a really positive word of mouth because they made a good looter shooter and everyone wants one of those in their lives, even though they're a bit of a disease. They're a cancer that invades your body and takes over every element of your life.
Wow.
But we'll see.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, moving on to May 21st, Deathloop, finally coming out. Again, that's been delayed already. This one is cool. I really like the look of it. Obviously, Arcane is a dev with a great fucking pedigree. It's Arcane Leon for this one, isn't it?
Yes, it's the French boys.
Yeah, the French boyos. And it looks cool. And while I'm excited about it, I don't necessarily know if... Like, up to this point, there hasn't been any must-buys for me, as it were. Deathloop is maybe the closest that we're getting to it, but I think I'd need to wait to see what the reviews are like in terms of its complexity. Because my worry with it is that there's just too many fucking moving parts, and you either get lost in it or you just get completely absorbed in it. I think it can go either way. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm kind of torn with Deathloop. It's a really cool concept, and I want to play that game and I want to have a go. But I think I've got the same issue you have in that I don't know. My question is about longevity with it and how much I want to stick with it. It almost in a weird way reminds me of like Hitman or something like that, like we were talking about earlier, because you're going to be replaying the same place again and again, and you're going to be trying out new stuff. And I already know that I fall off hard on Hitman because it's like you can do it your way. It's almost like a sandbox, and you can get involved. And I'm like, your concept sounds cool, the mechanics sound cool. I like the idea and how everything comes to, but it's how everything comes together.
Yeah,
and how you
for me,
feel
it's
about
like,
it.
hey, remember all of these people's routines so you can try and fucking take them down, and then add to the mix. Oh yeah, by the way, there's a fucking assassin hunting you as well. That's fucking gonna be completely erratic, and you're never gonna know what's happening. And it's just like, oh my god, it's like the fucking thing with the dog on a fucking unicycle spinning the plates. It's got a party hat on, and it's like, do I really want to feel like that when I'm playing a game? I don't know, maybe.
See, I'm my opinion of the person hunting you, which is another human player. That for me is weird because on one part, I'm like, they need that to inject the some mystery and some excitement to every game. But on the other part, if that kind of ruins your thread of learning how everyone moves, learning where to go, learning what to do, it might make the game a bit odd.
Yeah.
So I'm keen to play it. I'm keen to see it.
Yeah, I'm keen to see more on it, and then I'll make a decision. But yeah, June 22nd, boys. This is maybe the one that I am most excited for so far, which is Back for Blood, which we played a little bit of the demo when it got released. It was a closed alpha, open alpha, closed, whatever the fucking it was.
It was a good time. That's what it was.
It was. It was a hell of a good time. We played it. I don't think we streamed it, did we? But we played it. You, me.
It was us three and Steph.
Us three and Steph. That was a fucking good time. And that's, having played it is probably the reason why I'm so excited about it. I've never really been a big Left 4 Dead kind of guy. I know Jonesy doesn't like Left 4 Dead at all. I'm okay with Left 4 Dead, but I never got into it. But playing with you fellas and thinking the potential for streams or even just fucking weekend nights, I'm really as long as you guys are looking forward to it, because I'm not going to be the only one that's going to be fucking buying it, right? There's a 4 in the title for a reason, fellas.
Yeah, I think that so many games come and go where we look at them and go like, wow, if we all 4 of us or any number of us or even people in the community, if enough of us bought it to get solid co-op sessions going, that'd be so much fun. And it always is. It's just the difference is this was one where we actually managed to get ourselves together and play this when the alpha was live.
But I think more than that,
it was
though.
A good time.
Yeah, I think more than that, though, the mechanics of the game I actually really enjoyed, where you got these card pickups and the cards determine different perks.
The cards were interesting.
Starting weapons or whatever. And I'm interested to see where they take those kind of concepts, seeing as we were playing an alpha and how like where it goes. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, there's potential for something interesting there.
Do you know what I'm going to go? I didn't like that. I didn't like the cards.
You didn't like
I didn't
the
like
cards?
that system.
Jonesy, if you liked Back for Blood and weren't sure about the cards, you like Left 4 Dead. I hate to break it to you, but you like Left 4 Dead.
I didn't say I liked Back 4 Blood.
Oh, okay, there we go.
There we go.
Take it all back. Sorry.
I at the moment, if you ask me if I wanted to play more of that, I'd probably, from what I've played, I'd probably say not really. Like, I could see it was fun, and there were some fun elements to it. I don't think the card thing added anything, and I think the main thrust of what you were doing in the game was fine, but I don't know. I came away from it just feeling a little bit ambivalent. Like, it didn't really grab me. But then I kind of knew it felt better than Left 4 Dead did. I'll say that. I will say
Fair
that.
enough. I can guarantee you, though, as soon as on the WhatsApp message group, we'll be like, okay, we're going to play some Back 4 Blood, and then Jonesy's going to. We will say that night we were going to be playing it, and Jonesy just out of nowhere be like, yeah, I've downloaded, I'm ready. Whatever you guys are, let's do it. Let's go.
Do you know, Jamie's right that I will. If you three on playing it, then it's a good time if you sit down with 4 people that you like and you can play a game and you can enjoy it. I think the game is less important. I'd rather do that than sit on my own and play something that I think of as a better game, but I would rather play it with other people.
Yeah.
There's just some weird decisions with games like this for me. Like the card thing, I think is adding in an air of, again, like you don't really know what you're going to get. You don't know what pickup you're going to get. Like you pick the cards, but then it's down to chance which cards you actually get. And you can obviously make a team and work together. We were talking about this before. I prefer games like this where you have more specialized roles.
Yeah.
And this wasn't that, was it? It was just like you pick up a shotgun, you pick up a pistol, you pick up a melee weapon.
It is, but it just takes a little bit more thought because instead of just a pre-made thing, all the options are available to you in a way with your cards, and you almost have to define your role with the cards that you've got, but then also stacked up against the cards that your teammates have.
No,
because the first run,
you take a punt on.
because the first run that we had, we didn't understand the cards at all, and we're all running around basically as the same class, and we're like, this doesn't feel that great. As soon as we egged on what we needed to do, that game became five times more enjoyable.
It was better when you play it more understanding that system, because when I first went in, I had no idea what the card thing was. I was like, what are these cards doing? When do I get them? And then when we went into those menus, like, oh, I picked this and then I get a random one, and it was quite an interesting system, but for me, how it actually turned out, I don't know, left me a bit like meh.
All right, well, fair enough. Look, we got
I like more control, Chris.
More control. Well, then you should play Control and play the mission called Take Control, which is the ashtray maze. There you go. All right, anyway, Q2.
Christ.
Talk about a strained kind of fucking thing. Q2, unidentified as a release date, is Far Cry 6. And we say Q2, who the fuck knows with Ubisoft and their release schedules and shit, because I don't even think Eve himself knows.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why we're hopeful it's probably still Q2 is that it was briefly going to come out as soon as February, which seems kind of mad at this point. Imagine if a numbered Far Cry game was out next month on next-gen consoles. It wouldn't feel right. So,
yeah.
But then I still hope that we see this game inside the first half of the year. I'd like to see more of it before then, though. I'd like them to do one of those Ubisoft Directs or whatever they're fucking called.
Yeah.
And I
I'd like to see
don't know why
some
we
of
haven't
it,
seen
Jamie.
gameplay of this game.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some of it. That'd be nice.
Exactly.
But I also kind of feel that that doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to Far Cry games. For a lot of people.
It does when you have the relationship with Far Cry. Well, yeah, some people, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But I need to see something from Far Cry now. Like, as the person who, I know, like 3, 4, and 5, they've all got their fans for different reasons, but as the person who not just played 3, 4, and 5, but also played Primal and also played New Dawn and all that stuff, and like finished New Dawn just not even 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I need to see something new from this franchise. I can't just play another one of those.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, another one coming out in Q2, apparently. Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yeah.
Didn't that get a leaked release date recently?
Very possibly. I think when I was looking this up, I put it in the loose Q2 section. I think I saw somewhere like framing it as June. I might be wrong. But this is another one I would like to see and would almost expect to see in the first half of the year, especially given that there were rumors around the time that it was being leaked, its existence was being leaked, that it was going to come out late last year at some point.
Yeah, so there
were it
are...
not for the issues with Mass Effect 1.
There's the pre-orders are now live and slated to release this spring and could arrive as early as March 12th, if you could believe that.
Well,
yeah.
Call it Q1/Q2 then. How about that?
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting.
I want this game. I just don't know how much of them I'm actually going to go back and play.
Yeah. Is it going to be one of those reflex buys for you where you're like, Mass Effect Legendary Edition? Of course. I'll buy it.
It's unquestionably a reflex buy.
Wow, interesting.
I think the thing, do you know what it has going for it?
Yeah.
Is the fact that I think it's telling that in this conversation, we talked about one game for April, one game for May, one game for June.
Oh, don't worry, buddy.
No other games with release dates now for further months. Like, this year is going to suck for a little while.
Big time.
Yeah, it will do. Yeah.
I mean, look what I've said.
Will it, or will it let us clear our backlogs?
Well,
and get ready.
That in itself is maybe a good thing. But yeah, moving on. October. So the only game, fucking hell, the only game with a kind of confirmed-ish release window. Fuck, it's such a weird thing to say. Is Ghostwire Tokyo in October, a game that I am very excited about because I think that it could be a hell of a good time.
It looks very cool.
Looks phenomenal, and I would like to think that by October we're all immunized. You know, we're all gonna get our autism from the shots. That's all fine, and we can sit next to each other and we can fucking play this game all together, sat on the couch. I mean, I know it's not like co-op or whatever, but boom. There we go.
I love that that's the game that we all want to play together is Ghostwire Tokyo.
I think that's a perfect game for us, like close proximity for us to play together. Like Back 4 Blood is obviously the bigger one, but that's like sitting on our fucking couches.
I'm going to have to be the loser then that says, you guys say Chris, you say you're very excited for this.
Yeah.
I'd say excited, but not very. Like,
it's fair.
That, the gameplay they showed the last time we saw this game looked intriguing and bizarre, but not something I was really that interested. I don't know, like the idea of like going around the streets of Tokyo making finger guns and shooting girls in raincoats, like sounds interesting, but
quality.
I don't know. I need to see a lot more. Do you know what it reminded me of in terms of its sort of almost how abstract it looked and how hard to tell it was going to be as a game? Do you remember Killer 7?
Yes, Suda. That's a Suda game.
Yeah, every time I looked at Killer 7, I was like, I love the style of this, but what is this game? And for some reason, I get a similar thing of Ghostwire Tokyo. Like, how linear is this? Like, what are you doing? Are you just like... It almost borderline looks on rails in the gameplay sequence they showed off.
I mean,
and I think what they need to do is show an unedited one.
Yeah,
they need to show an unedited sequence.
I think that's fair.
I think it looks really nice. But it's not something I'm going to play again just because it had some of those like freaky elements to it, and I'm like, I don't want to play that.
That's why I want to play with you fellas on the couch and be like,
that's what you said on the couch. I'm there. I'm up for it.
Exactly.
Chicken wings beforehand.
Hell yeah.
Get a couple of beers in, sit down and watch Chris play some Ghostwire Tokyo.
I'll play the Ghostwire Tokyo. I'll wear a raincoat like those freaky little Japanese girls, because what's going to happen is Jamie's going to get so scared he's going to fucking vom all of his chicken wings all over me. He's like, bleh.
But it's not supposed to be out and out scary, though, is it? It's just supposed to be like, like a bit edgy.
I don't know. I think
it
could have the propensity to be so.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe. I think it could. Like, I mean, fucking, what's his name? Kimura.
Yeah.
He's like. No, is evil, it? I don't know who.
It is Kenji Kimura.
Yeah, Evil Within and Resident Evil before that. So like, there's horror lineage.
It's called Pedigree. I'll have you know.
No, Mikami's the guy I'm thinking of. Shinji Mikami. He was the Evil Within guy and the Resident Evil guy who is involved in this in some respects. I guess he's not the director.
Yeah.
But he's involved in. He's still part of Tango Gameworks.
I think it'll be cool, and I can't wait to play it with you guys in the flesh. Ghostwire Tokyo coming soon. All right, fellas. So that's it for like known-ish quantities, because then Q3 and Q4 both have vague kind of, hey, at some point, Halo Infinite and Horizon Forbidden West is going to come out in Q3 or Q4. Now, there are more. Obviously, you haven't heard us talk about God of War, but those are completely... They've just been like, hey, 2021, sometime, But Halo Infinite, hopefully they can fucking sort out whatever issues they've been having, and hopefully that's a fucking baller game because it'll be free on Games Pass, so that'll be fun. And Horizon Forbidden West is something that I know that both of you are very much looking forward to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, big time. 2 big games for their
consoles.
For their consoles. One obviously significantly more exciting to me than the other, but I'm hopeful for both.
Yeah.
I think these are 2 games that I can't see being delayed any further. I think these are going to be the 2 big sort of marquee tentpole games for each platform as we enter that Q3, Q4 region. There's a load of other games that I think could easily miss 2021, but I think these 2 almost have to stick.
Well, we don't know that much about Horizon Forbidden, or have seen that much of Horizon Forbidden West to definitively say, but you'd like to think that they've been working on it for a decent chunk of time.
Well, I think it's also just about like planning and the release structure. Like you said, there are unknown quantities in the likes of like Ratchet and Clank will come out at some point, but I don't know. I just think that, put it this way, they announced for Horizon Forbidden West and God of War as the sequel to God of War as games with the date 2021 on them.
Both of them, yeah.
One of them was like a well rendered, trailer, whatever you want to call it, a CG trailer.
Yeah.
The other was a logo. The other was a circle.
Yeah.
And they're both 2021 games. Like Horizon surely is the one that has to come out this year.
You'd think so.
Jonesy, I think you're muted, buddy.
Oh, sorry. God of War is getting pushed, I said. There's no way it's coming out.
Well,
I tend to agree with you. But then again, we don't know. Maybe it's just as far along as Horizon, but they just wanted to hold their cards to their chest because they're like, we've already shown off so much. Like, we need to keep some stuff to show off at the middle of the year to be released at the end of the year. You never know. But now we're getting into the unknown section where, like I said, it's there's a vagueness to it that's saying like 2021, or maybe not. Who knows? All right. So we got 12 minutes, which was that top-down kind of 12-minute loop gameplay where, I don't know, you murder your wife or some shit like that.
All-star cast.
Yeah, pretty good.
You guys are going to crash into the sun again, aren't you?
Oh, great. Yeah, in the time loop games.
Right.
A little Outer Wilds joke there from Jonesy.
Don't know what we're doing.
For about the
Crash
12 people that watched that ATG live stream of that game. But yeah, I mean, I think we're all pretty okay in saying like that could be a cool little game.
That could be a cool little game.
Don't be so contrary, Jonesy.
Should probably put it on the Switch then.
Yeah, probably. That'd be a great game on the Switch. Anyway, Chivalry 2, a game that I know both of you probably don't give any shit about, but I think it could be quite fun, judging by the amount of fun that I had in Mordhau. So, you never know. It could also be a bit of a Twitch darling. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. There's a game on here that I don't know what it is. Chorus. What is Chorus?
That's the kind of sci-fi, almost like Star Fox like game. It's like I don't know. How would you describe that genre? What genre is Star Fox? I was about to call it like a space flying game. Like, what is it? Like, it's a
Star Fox is on
space
rails, right?
fighter.
Space fighter.
Space fighter. Yeah, it's almost like a dogfighting kind of like.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one
doesn't ring a bell.
There were a bunch of games that like it's the one that stylized where the U is stylized as a V, which caused Jonesy to call it Corvus for a while.
You can't stylize a U as a V and be surprised when people use it a V to call it Corvus.
I don't know. This was it was a game that like barely made this as we were fleshing it. Like there were a bunch of games that were on the cusp of like, do you mention this game or not? But like,
well, I think maybe you failed on that one.
Well, Chris, next time you can put together the list, right?
It was my fault. I said I thought we should include it because I know a lot of people said that it looked really nice and they were keen on it.
But that's only because you forgot that there was.
I wasn't going to
Corvus.
throw Jonesy under the bus. I wasn't going to do it. But
I appreciate it.
Right. Anyway,
hopefully in the comments you can all let us know that you're really looking forward to Chorus and that Chris is completely in the wrong and you're glad that we mentioned it,
mate. Yeah, by all means. But going from a game that I have nothing to know about to a game that I am very excited for. Crossfire X, specifically, I guess the single player component by Remedy.
Remedy, yeah. Which hopefully is good. Remedy
Hopefully,
making a first-person shooter campaign.
Yeah, the trailer looked really good for what it's worth. But man, how tired am I of saying the trailer looked good and getting amped on a game and then it coming out and it's just...
That's all the segment can really be, is this is the trailer looked good segment.
Yeah.
Of the podcast.
I think that has... I don't know. I think there's a lot of possibility with Crossfire X to be like one of those brand new for us, right? I mean, it's like on fire in China and what have you. But
yes,
a brand new kind of IP introduced to the West where, you know, it could be fucking as big as COD. Who knows? It could be. I genuinely think it could be. But anyway, Dying Light 2. A game that you're looking forward to, Jonesy, and a game that the only stuff we've ever seen on it is about a fucking water hole. And what do you do with this water pump?
It's very important to figure out how you're going to get the water to the people and whether or not you help out the guys who are looking after the water or you kill them. And there's many different ways. Apparently, there's many, many different ways to go about that one mission. So many so that that's all we've ever heard about Dying Light 2.
I will tell you now that this game is not coming out in 2021.
Yeah, this doesn't
I would
seem
agree
like,
with you.
This doesn't seem like a 2021 game.
For anyone who's not been following all the glorious or less than glorious production of Dying Light 2, it effectively seems that, if I had to guess, I would say that their branching story campaign kind of world where all decisions have massive effects has caused them massive problems in the production. And so, delay upon delay. We'll be lucky if we see it this side of 2020,
some high-profile departures from the devs as well, no?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know.
We'll see.
Who left?
Someone else left it. Because it was like Chris Avallone was the one that left as a result of like Me Too, but someone else has left since then, like someone fairly important. I can't remember what their role was, but it made headlines.
That's got 2024 written all over it. Anyway, another game that's
got vaporware written all over it.
Yeah, another 2024 game written all over it is Elden Ring. The fucking...
Oh yeah. Speaking of games that don't exist.
We saw one trailer, and every single time there's any kind of a direct or announcement or showcase, and everyone's like, "Oh, gotta wait for that Elden Ring." And then
I feel so sorry for Elden Ring fans.
Some of these games are like, you know, when you decide you're going to go for a run and you feel really good about yourself because you've decided to go for a run, but you never actually go for a run. In some respects in the games industry, they can go like, we're going to do it, guys. We're going to announce that we're making this game. And like, well, we haven't made it yet. Yeah, but we intend to make this game. And you never know if it's ever coming out, if they're really making it, if they're just planning to make it. Like,
I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, it's so bizarre to me. Like, you think about the movie industry, okay? And they go out, they could announce that they are going to film a specific movie, okay, and give you info on it, who's starring in it, what the synopsis could be, etc. And then it's almost like quiet. There might be some like leaks in terms of like, hey, here's a set photo or whatever. But they make the film, they finish filming it, then they're like, we finished filming it and now it's in post-production. They do the post-production and then they make a trailer. The trailer comes out and the film comes out. Like, it's a pretty fucking A, B, C, D kind of effect, right? But gaming how has gaming got it so fucking wrong? I was thinking about this specifically with regards to Cyberpunk after watching the excellent Crobecat video. But yeah, it's almost like, why go to all the effort of putting up a trailer of a game to get that hype going, but you don't actually have a game yet? You know,
I want to say, wasn't it the Jason Schreier article that basically said that they didn't start making that game properly until 2016?
No, but I think that's a bit of a oversimplification, because I'm sure because they announced that like
in the sense of like you're saying
in 2012.
You're talking about movie. Yeah, but you're talking about how the movies do it. Movies that seem to be quite good at, like you said, saying they're making it, then getting on with it and making it, and then releasing a trailer when the movie's had a lot of stuff done to it. That's going to be in the final movie.
I guess.
Whereas it does seem games go, we're going to think about this for 5 years, even though we've already announced it.
Well, not all games, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I guess maybe to clarify my position on it is, the different approach to marketing that, say, Hollywood has compared to what gaming has. Whereas gaming's marketing is like, as soon as you fucking announce a game, let's start fucking churning the marketing wheel and get people excited, and then, you know, let's plot out leaks and points and this, that. It's just I'm not saying like it's wrong or anything. I just find it fascinating how completely different it is.
Oh, sure, yeah. In that sense, I guess it's kind of interesting.
You know, especially when so many high-profile games have almost been shooting themselves in the foot in that regard.
But there's also like a difference in the industries where like the games industry is far more interested in the possibility of getting consumers to commit to products before they're out than the movie industry is.
True.
The movie industry seems far more comfortable having a movie come out and be on release and be reviewed before you say, yeah, I'm going to go and watch that this weekend. The games industry wants you to commit to a purchase years before a product is even real.
Yeah, true.
Imagine if they got you to pre-order movies like months and months before
some
they
people
were ever
do
released.
that.
Yeah,
like, that is a stat
I remember
that, like,
Lord of the
increasingly
Rings
became tracked. Yeah.
Each Lord of the Rings, because they came out in December, like in concurrent years, right? And it was always like, whenever it was like September, October, November, it's like, get your tickets now because it's a fucking
I think that's
phenomenon.
I think it's a little different because though that's like kind of a special situation. Whereas the games industry, every game has. It seems like every game nowadays has pre-orders.
Pre-order bonus.
And if every film that was coming out was like pre-order your tickets or pre-order your disc, it's like I don't even know. Like, imagine pre-ordering like a Blu-ray of a movie before the movie's even come to the cinema, so you hadn't seen it. That's kind of how it feels to me in some way. In the games industry is. But hey, I fall for it.
Which is weirder because like video games are a bigger money commitment and a bigger time commitment. Like it's far more of a risk doing it with a game than it would be with a movie.
And yet we're more ready to do it.
Well, it's because like I'm sure the movie industry would love to be able to to sell through 8 million copies of a DVD or a Blu-ray before people even know if it's any good or not, which is what Cyberpunk did. But like video game fans are like uniquely brainwashable, and we've proved ourselves to be that, and that's what like companies have driven their marketing towards. Because why wouldn't you take advantage of the fact that we're fucking morons?
Case in point, everyone excited about Elden Ring, a game that does not exist.
Yeah.
Well, it will exist eventually. Obviously, like it feels like it's only a matter of time before that game is back, and you know, you see more of it. It's just a shame that
I'm going to tread on the optimistic path on this one and say that I think it will come out this year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think it will come out
Elden
this year,
Ring.
but I think we'll be ready for it by the end of this year.
Yeah.
I just don't think it'll come out.
We think Elden Ring will be out this year.
Yeah, I do.
I reckon it'll be out 2025.
2025. Wow.
I think 2022.
2022. Decent. Okay.
1 year.
And a game that we've almost unanimously kind of decided that it will come out next year rather than this year is the God of War sequel. Purely owing to the fact that all we've seen, as we said, is a fucking logo. But like I said, maybe they're just holding their cards close to their chest because they want to stagger some releases. Who knows? But God, that would be so cool. That would be so good if it came out this year. It'd be so good.
I was going to say, like, I admire the ambition. I admire the ballsiness of putting 2021 on that trailer. I didn't even see that trailer coming, let alone that date.
I know, dude, because you lost a bet to me.
Yeah, I lost a bet to you. It feels like a game that's primed to miss that release window, but love to be proved wrong. Would love to be proved wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think of any of the games that we've spoken about, that is far and away something that I am the most looking forward to. Like the gap between that and the next best thing that I was looking forward to, whether it's Ghostwire Tokyo or Back 4 Blood, they're fucking different continents. But anyway. Fellas, Gotham Knights, what you saying?
I think this gets pushed. I don't think this comes out this year.
But then I don't think Warner Brothers have anything major coming out then, right?
Do you know why I think this comes out this year?
Yeah.
Because Suicide Squad's already coming out next year. Like they've already delivered, done the 1-2. Like I think if they fuck it up and make it a 2-2, then all of a sudden, you know, they're almost cannibalizing their own audience.
Yeah,
anyway.
I think they'd love to put it out this year. It just seems like one of those titles which is not going to be finished. Like it seems from like what we learnt about it, it does seem like there could be a lot to this game and maybe a lot of things to try and get right.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
and I think that's often what what pushes games further down the line is you have a good idea and the idea might work in some respects, but when you come to the actuality of playing it, and we don't want to talk about Cyberpunk too much, but talk about how games are made and the fact that I think it was a dev recently who posted on Reddit who was saying that, look, most games, you can't really play them and experience them until right toward the end of the development cycle. Yeah. And so if they get to a point with a game like this and go, actually, do you know what? We need to do a lot to this to fix it. And I want to say that this 2021 is the year not to mess up on a game, because people will be like, haven't you learned? Haven't you learned anything?
I don't know. I think you could say that about any of the past 4 years.
That's true. That's very true.
I do kind of agree with what Jonesy's saying, though. I think there's a possibility that the extent of the Cyberpunk fallout makes people uniquely scared, maybe more so than ever before, about the possibility of a botched launch.
Maybe, or maybe they say, hey, you know what? They had a super botched launch, but they still sold fucking 12 million copies. Like, fucking, let's go.
I think either way, Gotham Knights for me is a game that does get affected by that. Gotham Knights seems like a nailed-on October-November launch, like full game cross-platform extravaganza.
So you're saying this year?
I think this year.
Yeah, I think this year too. And Jonesy, you're saying next year potentially.
I think next year. I could see it coming out early next year, and then Suicide Squad coming out later in the year, because you still have a decent amount of break between the two. But no, I don't think it'll be out this year.
What about Gran Turismo 7, fellas?
I think that's this year.
Yeah, I think so. So it was meant to be a launch title. I think some people were speculating. It wasn't anything official, but yeah. I think
when you're up to number 7, how can it's got to be quite easy to produce.
I think
so. Like
to be honest, I think that's when it gets harder, dude. When you got to work that extra, especially on a brand new console. But anyway, I don't know. Hellblade 2. Yeah, go on, Jay.
I was going to say they went the whole PS4 without being able to make a numbered one. So I don't know. Maybe they're not as on top of it as we think they are.
Yeah, fucking GT Sport. There you go. Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga. I think that's going to come out this year, and I think it's going to be a good thing for Xbox and Games Pass.
Agreed.
And I hope it's well received. No More Heroes 3. I think it's been delayed already, so I would probably...
Into 2022.
Has it been delayed into 2022?
I don't know. I'm asking you. You'd know better than me.
No, I think it's just been pushed rather than delayed into another year.
I think this year. I don't see why not.
I think this year as well. A game I'm looking forward to. Psychonauts 2 as well. A game I'm very much looking forward to. And I do believe that that'll come out this year. I think Tim Schafer did say that he had finished the story of it, etc. So, like,
that game has to come out.
It's got to, dude.
I'm gonna say no.
Oh, no to Psychonauts 2. You are a madman.
I think Psychonauts 2 is going to be next year.
Wow. I look forward.
Wow.
I look forward to proving you wrong on that one. Resident Evil Village. I'm not going to mention anything about this because
people will know by the time they listen to this.
Yeah.
Let's say it as though we know. Right. When is it coming out? Give us a release date.
It's coming out this year. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but give us a release. Like, I reckon we can nail a release date. I think a release date comes tonight.
I'm going to say September. And I'm going to say as well, a little bit of a, gazing into my crystal balls, that Resident Evil 4 remake is going to be coming out in March as a surprise release.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that Resident Evil Village. I'm trying to get my smart hat on, and I know Japanese companies love to do early in the year releases.
They do, especially Resident Evil. So is it? So have I got it maybe the other way around? Is it maybe Resident Evil Village is going to release first, and then they're going to be like, one more thing in September? You're going to be playing Resident Evil 4 remake.
So here's the thing. Get ready for this. I think September-ish is a solid bet for Resident Evil Village. I'm with you on that.
Boom.
I think Resident Evil 4 remake doesn't even get mentioned on the Night Sites live stream, and it doesn't officially exist until far later in the year, and is like a deep 2022 release.
Do you want to put? You want to put some money on it?
Oh God! Sure, yeah. Let's put money on
£5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but
on the fact that
say
the wording.
Okay, my wording is going to be that it will be announced in the showcase that's going to be tonight.
Okay. See that I love bets like that. It's a win-win for me. It's either I'm £5 richer or Resident Evil 4 remake is like a tangible thing.
All right. So, is that,
So yeah, I'll take that
yeah?
bet. I'll take that.
So you're
bet,
so you are saying it's not going to be at the showcase tonight. I am saying it is,
Yeah.
and I look forward to
I've
taking your money.
I've just got a funny feeling that I don't know. I've got a strange feeling that I can't see. For some reason in my head, I can't see Capcom making and advertising 2 Resident Evil games at the same time.
Maybe. Okay, let's just add in a little caveat though, because it might have tripped you up last time. Does a logo reveal count? Because obviously,
yeah, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I
Okay.
think if there's any leeway, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt if there's any kind of something in between. Just because, like, again, I'd loved for them to make Resident Evil 4 remake real tonight. I just for some reason I'm pessimistic about it. I don't know why. I can't. It's a je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, a French.
I think it'll
it's
be.
a
I
French
think it'll be
smell.
in there tonight. I'm going to go with Chris. I think they'll announce
Yeah,
it.
fair enough.
Jonesy.
Fair enough.
Yes, Jonesy.
I think it'll probably drop in maybe April-ish time.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot of optimism between you two for not just a Resident Evil 4 reveal, but also an imminent release. I love it.
Yeah, buddy.
And then when it comes to Village, I'm going to say, yeah, why not September? September sounds good to me. Village will get September 23rd.
Oh, slapping a
You heard
date
it
on
here
it.
first, folks.
Wow. Okay.
I would say put it in your diary, but you already know if we're wrong.
Right. Another game that's been delayed. Riders Republic, which is that weird extreme sports MMO, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah, because it's like you can play everything in almost the same world, right? So you can snowboard down a hill, and then there are guys BMXing alongside you and hang gliders overhead.
Which looks kind of fun, but I don't really care that much about when it comes out. So there you
No.
go.
This feels it's in an awkward situation where like it's theoretically new and interesting based on our proximity to its announcement.
Yeah.
But it already feels like it's in the same place as Roller Champions, which is just like, just put it out. Like,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
No one's
It doesn't seem like a game that you need to fucking fine tune before you release it.
yeah.
Like release it in whatever state it is. No one's really
Like,
gonna care if either you're in it or you're not.
Do you remember the fucking battle royale that Ubisoft made? I forget what it was called. What was it
Hyperscape.
called? Hyperscape. I think like fucking Roller Champions and Riders Republic are just hyperscapes waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I just think Ubisoft have really like are having a rough time when it comes to their multiplayer games at the moment. I don't know why.
I think Riders Republic feels a little different to me because if they nailed each element of that extreme sport, so like if riding downhill on a snowboard felt amazing.
Do you know
And
what?
you could
Do you know
do-
what else riding downhill and a snowboard felt amazing in? Steep, and it didn't fucking matter. Like no one cared.
Yeah.
But if you now put together all of like the like motocross, BMX, hang gliding, like all of that stuff, wingsuiting, if you nail each individual element of that game, do you know what? Like a Pilot Wings of old, where you could nail
Pilot Wings.
each individual element, and you could have so people could legitimately go in that game to do wingsuiting, and it looked incredible, and you did it, and you raced, and it was a lot of fun. And then you had people at the same time snowboarding, and it was on board with like a really high-end snowboarding game. Then I could see it being something different and a bit special. But I'm kind of with you that I don't think it's necessarily going to happen because they're going to try and focus on the whole thing and integrating that world, and it'll feel just a bit like one of those mashup games where it's like, finish your snowboard, now go for a BMX, and it's just going to kind of.
It screams to
fall a
me
bit
as,
flat.
as being a bit of a lazy wank of a game. It's like you got like
I know it. Yeah,
you got some time.
I get it.
Like
I get it.
You know, there's nothing really on TV. You don't really want to
But
get.
it needs to be on point.
Yeah, it's just one of those.
Oh, in terms of
need
how
to
you
nail
play
it.
it. I thought you meant in terms of like how they were making it. I
Oh,
was like,
no.
Oh god, so shots fired.
But yeah, another shame. Poor Ubisoft this year. Rainbow Six Quarantine, another one that's fucking an unknown fucking thing was
Bizarre,
I don't know.
utterly bizarre.
Like your
you know when
engine
I-
is
do you know when I
there,
heard
like your
about this?
balance is there. You just fucking make the game mode and release it. A game mode, by the way, which they kind of had as a special event. That then they decided, hey, this is going well. Let's fucking spin it off into its own game. I don't know.
I learnt about this game today.
What?
I literally hadn't
didn't.
really heard. I swear that I have not heard. I've
We've
not paid
covered
attention
it on
to
the
it. And then today I was
podcast,
like,
dude.
but I must have ignored it because I was like, "What's quarantine?" That's like, that's
That's
it.
so funny.
That's
Tell
how
you what-
into Rainbow Six I am.
Tell you one thing that this game is a candidate for is that game that most needs to change its name.
Yeah. Quarantine.
after the year we've had.
Yeah, Jesus.
imagine that.
Might as well just call it Rainbow
Announced
Six. You've got COVID,
great
bitch.
name, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and then a global pandemic happens. They're probably thinking like, fuck. we
Maybe
dropped
that's
the
why
ball
they're
on this
delaying it. They're just like Eve's like, any moment now, it's gonna stop and we can release the game.
one. Pre-order and you get a vaccine with it.
Yeah. Jesus.
Jeez.
Stalker 2, fellas, a game that I don't think any of us are really that kind of into, I'd imagine.
Fair play to people who are into Stalker, but I just never played any of the. I never played the original.
Yeah. What was
of
it?
those offshoots.
Shadow of Chernobyl or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
State of
Seems
Decay 3, Jamie, seeing as you're the only one that's played State of Decay 2 out of us.
State of Decay 2 is a cool game. The State of Decay games do something kind of interesting within that genre. I'm just curious to see whether State of Decay 3 can kind of like ramp that up a little bit, but also just on more of the visual and sort of the presentation side of things, let's say.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to see them up their game, really take advantage of the fact that they are exclusive to theoretically the most powerful console on the market, and make a game that just looks good and doesn't look and feel janky. There's some potential there.
Okay, good. And then the last one in the Ubisoft saga, Skull and Bones, a game that they should probably at this point just fucking abandon.
Ubisoft are in such a weird spot, man, with these games.
Yeah, it's not good, is it, at all?
I don't know.
It really isn't good.
I think apparently they're like completely reworking it, kind of shifting away from that multiplayer emphasis, because literally this game has been around so long that the viability and the marketability of a game like that changed as they were making it.
Yeah.
And they've shifted away from it. I'm glad that they haven't cancelled it outright, because people really fucking like Assassin's Creed Black Flag and people like Pirates. And see if they're
pivoting, if they're pivoting it more towards that kind of thing, I can see that being successful. But
that's even weird to me, because if their plan was to make another Black Flag, I'd say maybe that's not a great idea. I don't know.
I don't know.
Pirates are cool. Pirates are cool, and like you said, and people like going on ships, but at the same time, if it is more of more of a single player campaign driven thing.
2021 is the year of the sea shanty. So
I mean, that's
it could be cool. I've got no idea, but it is a weird one, that, because it's been around for such a long time.
We'll have to eat our words when Skull and Bones goes viral on TikTok.
Yeah, there you go. All right, and the last one.
That's how we know if we've been wrong.
The last one,
TikTok
fellas, before we wrap up this gorgeous podcast for today. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Again, a game that has been delayed before.
Yes. And a game that may well be in trouble based on like departures and various other elements, but who knows?
I'm going to put my neck on the line and say that's going to be a 2022.
I think that's possible. Yeah. I guess the other thing to say, like, before anyone either tries to make a point, or B, like, gets angry. I don't actually know how much people care.
Yeah.
Like, if it seems like 2021 is sparse, it's because there will still be games that get announced and released within the course of 2021. Some of which will be the biggest games of the year. Like,
yeah, you'd hope so.
Ubisoft will have other tentpole releases towards the end of the year. There'll be a Call of Duty this year. Yeah. I think EA could bring Battlefield back this year. Those things could and maybe even will happen. It's just hard to know at the moment.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a weird spot. And yeah, looking at, like, talking about all these games, it's funny because in one of our first few episodes of the Super Show, we talked about upcoming games. And we're saying, funnily enough, I think we recorded them at the end of 2019, and we're saying, "Oh my God, look at all these games that are coming out in 2020. It's embarrassing how many good games are coming out. Like, it's gonna be a golden year, this, that, the other." And going from that to coming to this, and it's just like, man, what a fucking shit year.
You have to have the darkness, Chris, so that we can see the light next year.
I mean,
we have to have bad to realize the good.
Maybe.
Do you know one thing I hope can add a bit of brightness to it? This is a weird one, I know, but like Bethesda were a company who, in the wake of the pandemic, stayed quiet. They were one of the companies that didn't do a replacement E3 stream or showcase or anything like that. They have a history of announcing and releasing games on a 6-month turnaround.
Even
I'd
shorter.
love to see them
look at Fallout 4.
even shorter, yeah, for even 5 months. I'd love to see them get Starfield ready for this year.
Oh,
Optimistic.
man.
That seems almost nailed on to be a 2022 game, but or even like Youngblood was being made by an offshoot team, and Machine Games have actually got Wolfenstein 3 ready, and that's why they can move on to Indiana. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting desperate, as you can tell.
You know what?
But, like,
You've given me
I'd love a few
glimmer
more
of
pleasant
hope.
surprises.
Yeah, you've given me a glimmer of hope when it comes to Bethesda, because they are up there for game devs for me. And you're right, they have been very quiet. Even when they weren't quiet, the stuff that they were announcing was not like, I wouldn't necessarily call it AAA. You know, like Fallout 76, you're not going to say that's AAA. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm aware I've been saying I don't know for a lot of this fucking podcast, but here's the crazy secret, fellas. I don't know.
No one knows.
But do you know what? Do you know the biggest game of the year? The biggest game of this year is going to be?
Tell me.
Right around Q3, maybe getting into Q4 almost, is going to be Cyberpunk 2077 Next Gen Edition. Finally, as it was intended to be.
Can you imagine?
Jesus Christ. I mean, that will be one of the big stories of the year, no doubt.
If they manage to turn it around this year, then you know what? I think then Marcin, whatever the dude's fucking name is, can make another video saying, why don't you all you fucking haters, why don't you go fuck yourself? And I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to stand up and clap to that dude and his sentiment. You know, because it's impossible.
It's 2022 at the earliest. I don't know.
I going to go ahead and say that watching that Crowcat video made me feel like the answer for when Cyberpunk is going to be everything we want it to be is never.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay, do you know when it will be? It will be 2025 and it'll be Cyberpunk 2028. 78, sorry. It'll be 2078.
I think there's too much that they can't claw back based on stuff that was meant to be in that game and isn't. I just can't see that being delivered in patches. Go and do yourself a favor and watch the Crowcat video and get ready to just be overwhelmingly depressed by everything you see. Depressed
or angry. But you know what was interesting about that Crowcat video before we kind of sign off? Is I was watching that and I was like, man, in terms of the bugs, not the missing features, in terms of the bugs, it was like, fuck, I am playing such a different game to what is being shown on this screen.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah, so. Hey, there you go. I guess code word for this episode is, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's going to have to be. I've said it so much now. I'm so conscious about it. If I ever say I don't know again, I might have to do a drinking game of my own.
Chris, are you ever going to say I don't know again?
Who can say, Jamie? All right. And with that, thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube or listening, if you're listening on a podcast platform of your choice, I will remind you, we're a 5-part... fucking whatever. Okay, goodbye.
5-part.
We're a 5-part.
We're a 5-part, yeah, par 5. All right, see what you do with that one.
Yeah.
Take it easy. See ya.